Thank you.
No, he's, I guess, got drunk last night and this morning and so.
We have aging in place tomorrow.
How are you?
We have our aging
How you
in
doing
place
there?
tomorrow.
And Cheryl.
Yeah.
Linda.
Well, no, you're texting my boss somewhere.
Are you? Is it heated? Oh, yeah.
Saying
Yeah,
that.
we'll give it to him.
Do you want me to go to the meeting?
I don't think so, Mickey went to go 5 minutes ago to
I will call this meeting to order. It is 7:35, and, the first thing on the agenda is, please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're ready for roll call.
Mayor Terry Whiteham,
Present?
Vice Mayor Jacqueline Wells. Here. Councilmember Aaron Durst.
Here.
Councilmember, Darrell Gardner.
Here.
Councilmember Davari Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Linda Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Chris Weisenberg. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next thing on the agenda is a public hearing, and at this time I will open a public hearing, I'll open a public hearing, for the new restaurant liquor license. I can't pronounce that name. I'll make somebody mad.
La Abuelita.
La Abuelita, that's easy to say, I just could not figure it out myself. Mexican Restaurant LLC and, GMRG, ACQI LLC, DBA Pizza Hut. Is there anybody here to speak for or against that during the public hearing? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing, and the next thing on the agenda is public, participation. This is for, citizens who have something would like to talk to, the council about or tell us about. There is a 5-minute limit, and, at this time, if you have anything to talk to the city council, this is when. Hearing none, we're gonna move on. Thank you. I don't think I closed the public hearing. I don't think I said those words. I'm sorry. The public hearing's closed. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. All right, next thing on the agenda is the minutes, and I would entertain a motion there. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the city council regular meeting minutes of April 2021 as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Okay.
Vice Mayor Wells seconds it. There's been a motion made and seconded to approve the city council regular meeting minutes of April 2021 as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please open online voting. Do I need to reboot or something?
I don't know.
I vote yea.
Okay.
Okay.
And Jacqueline, yours is.
It's not letting me join the meeting. Hold on. Let me log back out.
Here.
But yay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna get through one meeting without a reason for sure.
Okay, online voting has not closed. The motion carries with 6 yeas.
There you go. It's sticking. Okay, extra hard.
All right, if we're ready to move on, the next thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes of April 2021 special meeting. I would, Councilman Smith,
I would move to approve the minutes of April 2021, special meeting.
Second.
there's been a motion made and seconded to approve the, city council special meeting minutes of April 2021 as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would you please open online voting?
Online voting has now closed, the motion passes with 6 yeas.
Thank you. The next thing on our agenda is to, approve the agenda. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, if there are no, corrections to the agenda, I move that we approve the March 20th, 21 city council agenda.
Vice Mayor Wells?
It should be April.
Oh my gosh.
It's been there as March, but it should be April.
And it says
I know.
April. I wasn't paying attention to that.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Councilman Smith, seconds it. There's been a motion made and seconded to approve the April 20th, 2021 city council agenda. Is there any, discussion?
It's 14th, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, April 14th.
No, April 20th, it's today's agenda.
Today's
Oh,
agenda.
today's
This is
agenda.
the
I thought we
agenda.
were back
This is-
on-
Oh, okay,
back
You
on
were
the
fine, you were fine.
minutes.
okay.
Okay.
March 20th.
Apologize.
Oh, no worries, I'm just confused.
No, it's April, April,
Did yours,
yeah.
computer?
It was just,
Say March.
it was just,
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, I'll repeat, there's been a motion, okay, online voting is open.
I think we should go home.
We're gonna get good at this sometime. It all comes out, but it's like watching sausage be made. You may not wanna eat it.
Online voting has now closed, the motion carries with 6 yeas.
All right, thank you. Now is the time for the city council reports, and we'll start with the Board of Adjustments. Councilman Durst?
Mr. Mayor, I have nothing to report. We have not had a meeting since the last time, and to the best of my knowledge, there's not a meeting scheduled anytime coming up.
Okay. Thank you. Then, Carbon County Council of Governments, that, we have not had a meeting since the last, time I reported. Next thing is the DDA Main Street, Councilman Smith.
Mayor, I would like to defer to Pam. Mayor,
Right.
Director of DDA Main Street Program.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. The first update, I wanted to just remind everybody that the Restaurant Revitalization Act funding is getting ready to be distributed, through the SBA this spring. Most of the restaurants, bars, taverns, food trucks are aware, we've been working with them. Also, the Shutter Venue Grant Program is out. This is all part of the American Rescue Plan, for 2021, and we are in the process of having training and making sure that we understand so we can assist all small businesses. So it's a pretty lengthy funding, but the two big ones that actually stand out for the small businesses is the Shutter Venue, which is for like, movie theaters and performing arts and stuff like that. We've contacted all of them, but so that's some additional funding that's gonna be available to our small businesses, restaurants, bars, taverns, and then the venue.
Kinda, how does that work, Pam, and what, are we looking at real money, or?
It's real money, it's gonna be grant money. So the Restaurant Revitalization Act funding will come through the SBA, and they're finishing up the rules right now. So I've been working pretty close with Jim Drigger, because the SBA and SBDC, just like the PPP, the protection, funding came through the SBDC, so it's gonna work very similar to, Mayor, on that. So, and I haven't gotten through the Shutter Venue one, yet. I haven't had a training on that, but I just finished up a training on the restaurant one. So, again, our doors at the Rainbow Teton are open to help and with those grants and stuff like that. So, remind
Okay,
everybody
thank
those opportunities. So, I was actually gonna wear a big sunglasses and a hat and a beach towel, and stop it at that. But, no teeny-weeny polka dot bikini. But the splash pad construction has started, it's so exciting, people are like calling and everything, so it's also really exciting that, we have local contractors doing a majority of the work. 71 Construction, Acme Electric, and Naturescapes so it's just great to see that. Yeah. There was a little girl out there today, she was just standing at the sidewalk when I got in my car, and her mom was telling her, and she was just jumping up and down. It was so cool. I also wanted to let you know that the Wyoming Business Council is having an audit, through HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and they are asking for documentation, they're requesting documentation from the DDA city on the facade project. They will be here tomorrow, it's just an audit that happens, I'm not worried, we have all our I's dotted and T's crossed, so just wanna let you guys know on that. And then the last couple things is just, again, dates to remember, some fun things, is Super Saturday, which I call Super Saturday, and Myra and Danielle are calling City Cleanup Day. Do you wanna come to Super Saturday, or do you wanna just come to Cleanup Day? Again, that's June 5th, posters are out, all that. Oasis in the Desert, which is Summerfest, we named it because we're gonna dedicate the splash pad on Friday, July 9th, and we'd like all of you guys there. We'll have some fun things for you guys to wear. Will not be teeny-weeny polka dot bikinis.
Talk me right out of it.
And then, of course, you guys should have gotten a letter that we sent out last week to all elected officials across the state about Bohemian Nights, which is Passion of Pride this year. So that's, the DDA update.
Thank you.
I have
I
a
will give these-
question for you.
Sure.
It was a question, I had a constituent call me wondering if, the DDA was renting a office for the contractors that are doing the splash pad.
No,
Okay,
there's not.
That's all I needed, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to let you know I brought that.
No, and I forgot one more thing that I talked about at staff. So bricks. So, and this is way before my time, this is was not a DDA project. When they did Depot Park, right around the, clock, there were bricks that were sold. They have people's names on them.
Right.
So as they were, D71 was doing the demo, they actually have all the bricks, they have all of them, some without names. But I guess I would like to know what council's pleasure is. My idea would, when we put the clock back in, we're just moving it a little bit, to put the bricks that have their names back around the clock. Is that what you guys would like to do? I mean, people pay for those bricks.
Oh, yeah. We need to have that preserved somehow, and that sounds like a great way to me.
It's from Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what my plan was, but again, it's council's pleasure because that was a city project.
Okay, so,
Okay?
thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you. Let me give you
I'd
this.
like to mention one other thing too, is that, we talked at the DDA meeting Monday, and, we talked about the rainflow Teton Entrepreneur Center being available to more across the board businesses rather than just the district. So we rebranded it to be the Rollins Entrepreneur Center. And so, we've got a website that we're putting up for that, so that we can help businesses across the board.
Right, so we're just rebranding. I was gonna actually come next month and show them the new logo and surprise them.
Well, you can do that.
That's, yeah, okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. I guess we'll skip to the, Urban Systems Committee, Councilman Garner.
Okay, so we had our meeting, I believe it was last month. We talked about the yield sign, under or before the, underpass. And, if I remember correctly, Amy, we talked that they can't enforce anything with that sign, correct? And I think the talk leaned more towards, removing the sign, just altogether.
What's that?
The yield sign, or going under the underpass, or I'm trying to think, what street is that?
Washington.
Washington, Colorado. removing that sign that, when you're heading northbound. So, that was talked about, and then, I mentioned, the stop signs on, I should have brought my notes, I'm sorry. Is it State that runs right there by right in front of the fire department house outside?
It's East State and Higley.
Yeah.
Right there, that intersection, removing the stop signs and replacing the stop signs with yield signs. It seemed like a pretty good idea. They said, the law enforcement that was there, Jared Frakes and Hooper, said that they'll be able to enforce some type of if there'd be enforcement there if they did take down the stop signs and put yields up, so they could still, traffic would flow a lot better, and, it would be a good idea, so. And then, I don't know if Pam wants to come back up, but we had a company, called Bird, that's interested in bringing scooters to Rollins, and, if I remember right, they contract out with a company, a local company, or have somebody local run. They bring in the equipment, and all the maintenance is done by a local person. I don't know if you wanna talk about that. I didn't mean to spring it on you.
You want, you want me
Is that okay?
to? So, yeah, Honorable Mayor and Council, so actually Sean and I took a call with an e-scooter company called Bird, and that they actually, they picked Rollins as a community, a potential community. And the bottom line is what happens is they set it up, they actually get a local entrepreneur to run their fleet, their birds. There's a nest where it's all fit. And they actually, where they plug them in at night, and an entrepreneur actually makes the money on the rides, and the scooters are actually owned by Bird. So it's a really kind of cool thing that we are looking into, but we're at this point not ready to bring it 100% to council, because we'd have to do some ordinance, and Danielle, you may wanna hop up here now too, on Bird. But that we are just looking through the give and take and seeing. Evanston is going to try it this summer, and so I think what the Urban Systems decided, and Danielle, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that we really wanna see how Evanston does with some, I don't wanna say call them concerns, but maybe some potential challenges of safety. I think the biggest thing with safety, putting them out on our streets or whatever.
So we will actually have an Urban Systems meeting in July, bringing this back with some options and, be able to talk to Evanston and just use their successes or maybe their challenges and learn from those a little bit, so that we'd feel more comfortable, with the intent of being able to work with Bird to bring them in next year. So,
Could be super exciting. And it would be a way for a local person or a local business that already exists in Rollins to actually have a new avenue for funding and small business.
And we just had some rules and regulations to look over and review, maybe modify it, so that they could actually, have full functionality here.
Correct. Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful thing. I've heard a little bit about it, and I think it would be a cool thing.
Yeah.
A really cool thing to have.
yeah, and I think that the board in general, supported the project. The biggest concern that came forward is that we didn't wanna rush it and then have safety issues or things come up after the fact that we weren't prepared for.
Councilman Smith?
I'm hate to be a wet blanket here. I am excited in any time that we can have, new businesses, and I know that we're working on a few on the other end. But why did this go to Urban Systems? To me, it's an economic development project that should be community development.
Because it's, all of those rules are within Title 10, which falls under Urban Systems. So it's related to traffic, riding in the street, things like that. So that's why it goes to Urban Systems.
Okay, it was just unusual, we've never done something like that.
So Bird project itself didn't go to Urban Systems. The ordinance changes for Title 10 went to Urban Systems.
Oh, okay.
And that's where they're concerned that if we're gonna propose a change to the ordinance to city council, that we wanna make sure we're making good recommendations that are not going to create further issues in the future.
Okay, thank you.
We thought if we wanna take a flight, fly over to Evanston this summer and check them out. It'll be a fun little.
We would have fun, wouldn't we?
Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, my question is for Councilmember Garner, are you presenting these as recommendations? And if you are, is that gonna be a motion that you're gonna be making? Because
No,
I
just,
think each one has to be done separately.
no, just information of what was talked about in the meeting.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
It was just informational for what we spoke about in the meeting. And this is the first time I've been to one of the meetings, so I apologize if, I was gonna ask you on that yield sign. I hope I didn't misspeak on that.
No, you did not, and that'll actually, I have that, marked to be on the next agenda as well, because it was not on our March, 31st meeting agenda, so we couldn't take official action, but the board will be looking at that.
Yeah, so it was informational, just to let you know what we spoke about.
When's your next meeting?
It's in
It'll-
July.
I don't have an official date yet, it'll be end of July though, so that we
So-
go past the 4th of July.
So you assume the recommendation's gonna be to do away with the yield sign, is that correct?
I am not making an assumption what their recommendation is. What we talked about is what the options were, and there were numerous comments made that it seemed like we shouldn't have a sign that wasn't enforceable. But what they actually do, we won't know until the July meeting.
Correct.
I guess my comment, and it shouldn't be a comment like this. I spent a time at a meeting with a Board of Adjustments, or the Urban Systems, excuse me, and their recommendation was to do a certain thing. This council just flat ignored it. And I think that's what they ought to do with this yield sign, just flat ignore what they're saying. I don't think that particular board, if they're gonna give us recommendations and we refuse to accept those recommendations, why have a board?
Well, we can cross that bridge when we get to it.
That's fine with me.
I wanna say one other thing, and I'm gonna get away from that and go back to, those yield signs at State and,
Higley?
Higley, geez, I walked from my house. When they changed the stop signs going the opposite way, it was like 200 cars stopping per truck. I think these yield signs would just absolutely do a perfect job. If the truck's coming, you stop. If it's not coming, you yield. And I thank you for introducing that, and I think that would work really well. It would maintain the ability for those trucks to come down off of that hill and go back up the other hill on the ice, and that was the complaint that got those stop signs changed. But yet it wouldn't inhibit, I mean, like, I have to stop, turn right, go 50 feet, stop again for a truck that isn't there. And 200 of us do that, and then there is a truck there, and then 200 more of us do that, and there isn't a truck, you know what I'm saying? So, just, the ratio of trucks to cars going the different directions, I think the yield signs would be perfect. It would accommodate the trucker, and it wouldn't inhibit or restrict driving, so that's just my opinion.
Absolutely, and that item is also being taken back to the July meeting. Same situation where it wasn't on the agenda, so we couldn't take official action, but it will be placed on there. So, and I've got those items I've bookmarked, I guess, in the next packet, which is nowhere near prepared, but, so I don't forget.
Thank you.
Yep,
Daniel and
thanks.
Sam.
Thanks. All right. The next thing on our agenda is the city manager's report.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, I have a few updates for you tonight and some questions as well. Vice Mayor Wells at our last meeting, recommended that we do a work session to discuss economic development and downtown development authority. And I visited with Pam, and we wondered if we could possibly do that on the 27th of this month, maybe at 6 o'clock. Just wanted to open that up for discussion, see if you like that date, or if you'd like something else.
What day was that?
The 27th of this month.
Would work for me.
I'm retired.
Anybody else have any problem?
I'll be in training, I can call in, should be able to, so.
And I'll work around my issue.
So we're
Mayor Wells, that work for you, the 27th?
Yeah.
Aaron? Sounds good?
Cool, thank you very much.
You said 6 o'clock, right?
Would that be a good time? I'm okay, whatever time everyone would like.
That would just be the meeting before the meeting, or do we have a meeting next week? Oh, 6 o'clock would be fine, for me.
Should we go for that? Sounds good. Also, Danielle and I met with the landowner for the fishing pond project, and I know that's something that we've kind of been waiting to see what's gonna happen next. We asked if, the developer and landowner would be willing to, come here with council, answer some questions. And also for us to be able to just do a little, basically kind of have like a summary sheet of here's the key points to be considering with the fishing pond, and then having just a great discussion. We wanted to see if possibly we could aim for May 18th. That's the day that we asked the landowner, if that might be a possible day. So how would that sound for the council?
Yes, Councilman Smith.
So you're just thinking, oh, sorry.
Sean, I was, looking at Facebook again, and shouldn't have done it,
Shame.
there was some issues about alkaline, and I know that whole, it's a drainage area, and it's alkaline, but we've been working with the game and fish on that. And so, I guess I would like to reconfirm that that issue has been addressed. So if we do go forward, we have to do a drainage project no matter what we do down, whether it's small or big, and if we make it nice for the community, maybe that's a nice thing to do. But the alkali problem, I think, fish, I'm not sure live in alkali, and I'm sure they've mitigated it out somehow, but I'd like to know how that was, so I can address it.
Yeah, we can definitely look into that.
I appreciate that.
There's a lot of questions with that, and I really, I look forward to learning anything about it, anything more than we've learned, which is almost everything we need to know. So, there'll be a lot of questions, I guess, is what I'm saying.
So would that date tentatively be okay if we shot for that at, say, 6 o'clock? Okay. All right, thank you very much. Another update, so when the WAM conference, happens, which, I'm still waiting to hear the agenda, haven't seen that come out yet. But they said on July 12th, they're gonna be talking about the federal stimulus funding and how that'll be appropriated. And I remember a few weeks ago, I kinda checked that out to see potentially what could the city get from that funding. And I think it was somewhere around like $1.3 million. So, and hopefully it's a little bit easier than this last time when we went through the grant, process, but this is something that all the cities are definitely looking at and, having a close eye on because we'd like to be able to get that funding for the city. So I'll keep you up to date on that one. I also, reviewed all of the legislative bills, that, WAM sent out this notification of here's all the bills that were cut down, here's some that, have made some progress or are gonna come into effect in July. And this morning I talked to our staff and I identified seven of them that I'd like each of them to kind of read and make sure that we're good to go when July comes. So there's definitely a few that could impact us in some ways. And also, as they review that and as they come back with, that information, if there's some significant things that the council should know about, we'll bring them here and talk about them. Another, good bit of information is, WAM was, fighting against the direct distribution. They were looking to cut our funding that we get every year, and that was gonna impact us about $50,000 is what I was thinking we were gonna do, have to cut in our budget. They were able to make that not happen this upcoming fiscal year, so we will not need to cut that from our budget. So that was, good news to hear. But let's see, so, Amy let me know that on May 10th, we have a due date for resolutions to submit to WAM. So I know one of the things that we talked about with the strategic plan, was maybe we can have them lobby for how to deal with the dilapidated, dangerous, non-maintained buildings. So if it's okay with the council, we can craft something, and bring it, we would need to bring it back on the next council meeting, to have that as a resolution. And then also, Councilwoman Smith had, an idea, if you don't mind,
Would you like me
just
to
kind of,
share it?
would you please?
And I'm gonna say if, because politics is politics, and I don't wanna go down that road, but if the not the stimulus, but the infrastructure bill passes in Congress, and specifically for Wyoming, there is a number of, areas that would benefit the city of Rollins and the whole state of Wyoming. And what caught my eye were two, well, actually three, areas under all that language, I guess is what I'm call it, all the words. But there's three areas. One was Amtrak specifically. And I know that Amtrak, has a different route through Colorado, but I think, in talking to DeBar, he has a person in Cheyenne that says that they would get it maybe close to, or in Cheyenne, bring Amtrak to Cheyenne. So I'm thinking, well, let's just ask for the whole ball of wax and be ready if that infrastructure passes, so that we can at least lobby for and get Amtrak to see if we can't get it at least 2 days a week, hoping to get it longer, to reroute it through and upgrade it and maybe, and part of that money is also for fast rails too, and that applies to Amtrak. Also, there's broadband in that, quite a bit of money for broadband. There's a lot of places around the city of Rollins, not inside that I know of, but outside in the county that really does need to have some, internet, that would open us up for, economic development better. And then I see some medical, money in there for caring for people, and I'm thinking, ching, assisted living. And part of that, I was thinking too, that we can go back to the brownfield money for that one particular property. If they choose not to, if the hospital chooses not to rebuild, then that's a perfect place for assisted living. But there's another property that has been on our radar. It's an abandoned motel, has asbestos in it. But I called, the town of Shoshone last year or so, and they used their brownfield money to take down buildings in the downtown. And what they did, they worked it so that they didn't have the title to the property at the time that the asbestos was taken out. And so if we combine the brownfield money with taking the asbestos out of the building, and then use this, infrastructure money for medical care, i.e. assisted living, I think we can get an assisted living center here. So that's the three projects that I'd like to throw out on the table. I want us to be ready to go after it if it passes, and stand in line with the rest of Wyoming and say, hey, here we are. So that's my thought.
Councilman Martinez?
Sean, I think that on regard to the abandoned buildings, I strongly support sending a resolution to WAM. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. I would argue for it. If I was sitting in there, I would argue for it. What I would like to see us do is to continue, looking into us passing our own ordinance under the basis of health and safety versus, looking at the building itself. I think we have a shot of passing it. If we got that ordinance passed, I think it would be challenged, just like the ordinance on tearing down these houses and stuff around town. That was challenged, and it was okayed, and it's been going ever since. We are the first community I believe in the state that started that, and I think we can be the first community in the state that would go after an ordinance to try to do something about these buildings, so that we could, set some rules as to what they gotta be doing, something with those buildings, or they can be fined. Put a little pressure on the owners. And that gives us two ways to challenge that. One would be through WAM, which if it made the resolution committee would go to the legislature, and the other would be our personal, fight for that. I'd like to see us challenge that. I think if it went to court, I think we'd have a real good chance because, of the safety factors of the old buildings. That's my say. Sure.
Honorable Mayor and Council, I do wanna, just segue onto, Councilman Smith. The Wyoming Business Council will be doing the broadband money. Just to let you guys know, we got word on that. They did the last round of COVID money last year, and we approved almost $300 million in broadband. So the Business Council, as soon as that comes out, we will let you know. And then next week, Matt Ashby will be here doing a project for DDA Main Street, and he has to stay over Tuesday night. Sean doesn't even know if I was gonna talk tomorrow, but we started talking about brownfields. Ayers and Associates was supposed to come a year or 2 years ago and do a presentation to this council, to the council, the governing body, and he got in a snowstorm. He is actually gonna come and just listen to the economic development session next week, but he will be here, and they specialize in brownfields and all the rules, so we will be able to, if you guys so choose, he will be just sitting listening. It's just a perfect dovetail, so he will be here next week at the economic development session. So I wanted to share those two things. Thanks.
I would say that, you know, going through WAM is a good way to go, but I agree with Labari. By the time we introduce it, nothing passes in the legislature the first year at all. The very best idea in the world takes 2, and then sometimes more, so I'm kind of with Labari. We're desperate, let's just get it fixed, and then, like you said, they're gonna challenge it in court, and I think we're right. We shouldn't have to put up with that. It's scary, unsafe, and so we ought to work that way. It's a good idea, Labari. I agree with that. Okay?
Any other things that we should maybe try and put in a resolution for next time, or I think this was kind of giving us a good idea?
I think that's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then my last, item that I have is, just that we continue occasionally to get requests for, our water out, from outside entities. And the message that is always given to them is that we need to protect our water first and foremost before we can look at doing something like that. So just wanted to share that that's the message I continue to give. That's all I have for you.
All right, thank you. The next thing on the agenda is department heads, department reports. And, I don't know who wants to go first, but throw some elbows. Yeah. Pretty hard to beat that guy.
I'll tell you what, I'm quick on the go now, so, a lot of years of coaching track and field, so.
The starting blocks, right?
Well, good evening, Honorable Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and members of the council. We've had a very, very productive, month at the fire station. It's been good. These last 2 months have been very, very good to us. Responses, 77. Our training hours, I have put out, I've thrown down the gauntlet, to the men and women of our department, that, I want over 200 hours of training. This, we went from 134 to 168, so we're getting there, and, I think with the summertime coming up, there's gonna be a lot of chances for us to improve on that. Our building inspections was one of the big things we talked about, when I first got here. We had 14 in the month of January. Well, our last month, we did 37. So that's a 161% increase, and that's where I wanna keep that mark. 30 plus every month puts us right at our goal, and actually, by the time December rolls around, we won't have to do that many, so very, very pleased with that. That's our good stuff, and what you see in front of you was going to be handed out at the, banquet. Those things are called challenge coins, you may know that. If you're ever around firefighters and there's a bar, you wanna have that in your pocket, because if they pull theirs out and you don't, guess who finds the round? And I don't care how big you are, okay?
Yeah,
So, but we wanted to give that to you, and make sure that every one of the council members got it, so we brought it with us today, so.
Thank you.
You have any questions?
I don't have any, but I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for inviting us to the, award ceremony
It's our
for
pleasure.
the,
Thank you
for
very much
the,
for showing.
Firemen. I thought I knew more percentage of them than I do. But I did appreciate going and being around them and just kind of getting to know the personalities and stuff. And you got a great crew and they really respect you, and it was
Thank you.
it was a fun evening. Thank you.
Very, very proud of that group there too, so, but thank you for the showing too, for all the council members and, our staff that showed up too. It was noted. It was, you know, the men and women were like, yeah, it was really neat to see everybody there, so. Next year, we're gonna open it up to even more people, and we're just gonna keep going until we can't, you know, can't go any further in that building. Fair?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all very much, guys.
Thank you. All right.
Honorable Mayor, Council. The Rollins Police Department, we had, 367 911 or 911 calls received. Telephone calls received at dispatch was 957. Dispatch calls for service, we were 426. And our case follow-ups was 47. And then all other areas was 488, and that includes those bar checks and property checks, house watches, things like that. We had, 47 dispatched ambulance calls and 22 fire-related calls on our end. And then 52, animal control, calls for service. Some public, relations that we did, Sergeant Greninger and, Sergeant Robertson instructed a driving course at the high school. And then officers had a malicious mischief at one of the elementary schools, where a leprechaun on St. Patty's Day had, ransacked the school, so they helped investigate and try to track them down, so. They, also participated in, Career Day at the Rollins Elementary School, so.
Critter Day, what's that?
A career day.
Oh, career.
Yep, yeah.
I did the same thing. Sorry.
Moving on to code enforcement, he had, 19 cases opened, 18 of them are closed, 9 in regards to abandoned vehicles, 3 garbage, 1 littering, 3 snow removals, and a couple others, so. That's all I have. You guys have any questions? All right. Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Keep up with the good work, thanks.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, couple things about the golf course. The course kind of opened on last Friday. The weather didn't really allow for much to happen, so the driving range is open though. And the exciting news also is that the restaurant opened on Friday, and the food has been very good, very well received. I've been out there a few times, and I was told today that they are opening for breakfast tomorrow, so, and then every day from then, their hours are from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. As far as parks and green spaces, we have a general field, volunteer work day this coming Sunday, from 9 until we're finished. So we're gonna have myself and a couple of our parks, employees out there working with volunteers from the generals, for the field. We're gonna do some, minor renovations to the infield that I believe I discussed with the council at the capital improvement, presentation. So we're gonna try to make some minor, repairs and improvements before their season starts. So we're looking forward to doing that and making that connection happen between our Parks and Recreation Department and that organization. This Friday and Saturday, we have the Arbor Day celebration, April 23rd, 24th at the Parks office on Daly Street. There's gonna be free seedling trees, larger trees for sale and educational information. You'll hear from Josh, our assistant, Parks Superintendent, a little bit later about a proclamation about Arbor Day. All of our parks and green spaces, as well as the golf course, we're really, really hoping we can get the irrigation running again and open it up. but the weather is just not, helping us. I talked to Robert today, he's really hoping to fire things up Thursday or Friday at the golf course, but we really don't wanna go in there too soon. There's kind of, you know, we really need to get water on that turf, because the longer it goes without, it could do some damage, but if we fire up the irrigation too soon, we can lose a lot of sprinkler heads, so it's kinda complicated, and we're watching and checking the temperature in the soils every day. Hopefully we can do that. So that's not just the golf course, that's also the cemetery and all of our parks and everything else around town. And then, let's see, I continue to do inspections of our parks and playgrounds as time permits. You know, we have quite a bit of parks and playgrounds, and I love going out there when I have time. And so I'm trying to really kind of map out our future by identifying potential issues, also, identifying simple fixes, and just taking a good overall look at the status of our parks and playgrounds so that we can map out the future and help us identify which projects that we need to focus on for future capital improvement, by doing like a 10-year and a 20-year plan. So, it's gonna be a lengthy process, and I'm kind of doing an outside inspection. I haven't really dove in, although my family was in town this weekend, and my 2 grandkids, and we went to most of the parks, and they played on the playgrounds, and so, watching them play, I was able to notice a few things that we need to address, so, and they loved the playground, they really had fun, it was fun to watch them. And let's see, shooting range, we have a Silver Bullet shooting tournament, it's an NRA action tourney, on May 15th and 16th, so the indoor range is gonna stay open a little bit longer than normal for that, and then the outdoor range will open on May 1st. So we're looking forward to that. And then as part of the strategic plan, I've been working on developing a Parks and Recreation Advisory Board that I'm sure you're aware of. So right now, I'm kind of developing a press release, I'm developing like an application, and kind of overview of information of what this advisory group can do for the city of Rawlins, and I'm gonna share that information with Sean, and then the city council, and then at some point in the next month or two, hopefully we'll start recruiting residents that wanna sit on that advisory board, and then at some point, we'll come to city council and ask to have members of the community appointed to that board. One thing that I'm also looking at doing is working with the high school. I'd really like to get a couple of high school representatives on that board. I've done that in the past, and when we did that, it was amazing how it changed the whole tone of these meetings and the energy from these kids, because, you know, a bunch of adults making decisions for the community that affect kids just isn't the right way to do it. And so I'm thinking about taking it a step further and seeing if we can get a middle school representative as well. And they would be a voting member just as much as an adult serving on the committee, or the advisory group. And I think we're going with Parks and Recreation Advisory Board to stay consistent with our Golf Advisory Board and our Shooting Range Advisory Board. The one concern is we have a rec board here that funds a lot of our projects. We don't want to get any confusion, so hopefully Parks and Recreation Advisory Board will separate those two. So yes, I'm working on that as well. And then also as part of the strategic plan and part of the capital improvement, one of the requests that we have is to make some improvements to the landscaping on the west end of Spruce, the entryways there. So our parks crew has been trying to identify the issues we have with the irrigation that's not working in that area. So that's part of that project. That will determine what type of improvements we can make in that area. First, we need to get that irrigation fixed up. So that's what I have for tonight, unless anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, that's awesome.
Honorable Mayor and Council, we have Walnut Street out to bid this week, which is very exciting. Edinburgh is in final review. Both of those, just as a reminder, are 6-penny projects. We are getting ready to start our 2020 streets projects that were awarded last year and kick those off. Just as a reminder, we'll complete Delta Court, Lambda, Dunville, Colorado, Wyoming, and East Miller and Gallup. I almost forget that little one. Our next planning meeting is May 11th, so we're getting ready for that. We've got a couple of things coming forward for that. We did have 2 water breaks today. In fact, some of our employees are still out working in that, so I feel for them. We've been working on hydrants with the nicer weather, and Streets is amping up to start patching. So they've been really getting the hot mix plant running and making sure everything's functioning properly. And then I haven't given an update on this in a while, but I am continuing to work with the Union Pacific Railroad to finalize the lease for Fort Steele. But the Sinclair Pump House has been completely closed up. So hopefully I'll be coming to you guys with some more information on that soon. And that is all I have, unless you have questions for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle. Anybody else? All right, we will move on to the next thing, which is the city council reports and direction to the, city manager and, Councilman Martinez.
I believe it was last meeting, I brought up the subject of the trail, from, Rochelle's Golf Course to, Sinclair. I had talked to a council member then, and he brought it up to the meeting in Sinclair. They were excited about it. The mayor called me right after their meeting on Thursday and, was pumped up about it, and I told him I would introduce him to our new city manager and get the mayor and, rec department involved and have them sit down with them and come up with some kind of a plan, and then they could present it to the council. Yeah, they were really excited about it. He mentioned they had applied for a grant and they think they're gonna get it, so that would be a plus for that project. Other than anything else.
That'd be awesome to get that done.
Well, I don't really have too much of an update on that right now, but I did send an email out to their mayor to see if we could coordinate a meeting and to start learning what we can about it.
Good, thank you.
Vice Mayor Wells?
I just wanted to let the public know, and you guys know, that we have an aging in place meeting tomorrow, which is, a committee that's been together since 2009, working to get an assisted living, in Rollins, so we keep plugging away.
Thank you for your work on that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
No,
I just, I would like to see us work on the, and I think you are working on it, but I'd like to know a little bit more about the flow control situation and what we're doing there. So if you could have that, I don't wanna hear about it tonight, cause obviously it isn't ready to be presented, but, I'll be interested in that when I'd like to see us move on that and do something, or not, but at least talk about it.
Yeah, we have been talking about that, and we had even kind of tentatively chose the date. And kind of where it is now is I think Danielle was gonna meet with Jody, and they're gonna hammer out some numbers, and then we'll be ready to bring it.
Sure, thank you.
So, yep.
I got pictures sent to me about garbage cans all over town that were like full and a half, and garbage blowing. It's not the companies, it's the people.
Yeah.
It's the citizens. I don't know how we could do this, but I'd like to see us really concentrate on, I was funny, cause I was driving down the street and I looked over and there's one laying over, or it was standing up, but there was a bunch of trash beside it where obviously they're blowing off the top, cause it still looked like an ice cream cone, but this thing was on top of that, and then it had fallen off, and of course, cats and birds and all those things that love to spread it around. Somehow could we, I realize our code enforcement officer is working his tail off, and this is funny, cause I drove by in my rearview mirror, I saw the control officer follow him, and he pulled right over. So I know I went to talk to him. Maybe we could ramp up our education on that, because household trash is now a huge problem. And I think we've taken care of the commercial trash, but on the private trash, we need to maybe even look into making them put locks or locking devices on their personal dumpsters. I've been given information on that, and they're not expensive, it's not hard to do, they simply pop on, but it keeps the lid shut in the wind, and keeps the birds and cats and dogs out, and so, I think the first thing would be maybe to educate the citizens that it needs to be bagged, and really emphasize, because if it's bagged, it's not as big a problem. You can chase a bag rather than 500 pieces of paper, so, maybe we could work on that a little bit and educate the citizens about taking care of their personal trash. It's a problem. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, I agree with you, and I think that, I don't know about Wyoming Waste, but Dirty Boys has worked with me, I've talked to them and about the problem I had, and they took care of it. And, actually, putting on another can isn't very expensive, it really isn't. But yeah, that's a huge problem, and I had an opportunity to see a lot of pictures too, and it's terrible. It's just, I know we can, I was wondering if we couldn't put something in our water bill, some kind of something real nice saying that we need to take care of that problem, and put it in our water bill so that everybody gets it, at least they'll know that is a problem. Cause I know the sanitation people, they do a real good job of checking into it, and I think that they've done what they should. I think they sent out letters, cause I got one, and so, I think the city needs to step up to the plate and let them know that it's one of our ordinances.
Give them a little teeth.
Yeah.
Well, I think the haulers are doing every single thing they can. I think they're doing a good job of that. It's just people need to bag their trash, and then if they have a receptacle and a half worth of trash, you need 2 receptacles, you know? If it costs more money, then, I mean, what else you gonna do?
Right.
You know? So, anyway, thank you. If you would kind of maybe think about ways to educate them, and, Myra said, oh, they're going, yeah. And she's a very, very huge, very big component of that, but
Yeah.
probably stress it really hard again.
Yeah, I'm sure we could do a push here in the next month or two on that. Then I also know, one of our projects that we would like to work on, is have code enforcement come with a plan kind of for the year of like, this is kind of what we're gonna attack this month, and then have a good discussion about it and see if it kind of meets the needs of the things that you're seeing. So we're working on that too.
Councilman Smith?
Going back to flow control, while they're running the numbers, I think, now I could be wrong, but when I looked at it last, a couple months ago, there was debt there that we had, that we needed to pay off. But I think the loan was over, 27 years, and we paid down on that somewhat. So I would like to know that, and I know that if that goes off, we're gonna be hitting somewhere around $20. We're gonna have to raise rates, which we did this because we didn't have to do this before. So I'd like to make sure that there's some proposals in there on how to pay that debt out. I would like to see 5 years or whatever, but I don't know if that's possible without raising rates. Don't know if it's possible with what we have in the, enterprise fund for landfill, but I'd like to have some options.
Well, they'll present us with a bunch, and there were 2 loans, one's paid off, correct? And there's still one, but we can't do that for 27 more years, don't have to, I don't think. We'll see, just show us what the numbers are, tell us the options, and then we'll either choose to do something or not. I've looked at that also, and there's some options, but what I'm saying is, when there's some numbers there to look at, then we can have a robust conversation.
Yeah, and just to add to this conversation, I sent an email out to all the city managers, in Wyoming, because I was kind of curious to see how they manage their budgets as far as like reserves, you know, how much a reserve does each fund have, how much does the general fund have, how much does the enterprise fund have? And that was a really interesting topic that I think we should explore together as a group and decide how conservative we wanna be, but it kind of ranged, like in the general fund, it ranged from 25% that they saved of their operating expenditures to 50% in that area. Most of them were more like on the 50%. And then on the enterprise funds, it was interesting to hear a few of them said that they had 100% of their operating expenditures. And I can see why too, because some of those pieces of equipment that we have are expensive, and, you know, we get nailed with one of those and we can't use it. It makes sense. So I think we'll have to, when we have our budget work session, to kind of, I think that's a good discussion point that we should have of how conservative do we want to be, but, and I would say as conservative as possible with, you know, how the state of Wyoming is, how things are going there.
True, but flow control doesn't really mix in there. I mean, to me, flow control is, we can do flow control in several ways. Like, the city could do all fire extinguisher, repairs or whatever. And then when our fire truck's paid for, then, somebody can go back in business, you know, that sort of thing. This flow control thing is very controversial. I'd like to see us get out of that and have the citizens pay for the dump and not necessarily hinder. You know, there's one company that spent $200,000 and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you can call that useless because we have a dump to pay for. Well, is that who should be paying for the dump? Anyway, when you bring that back, we'll have that discussion. If it has to be, it has to be, but I don't think it has to be. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, when the subject came up some time ago, I was curious, so, my question to the finance department is, how much, if we did away with flow control today, just did away with it, how much would it cost the citizens on their bill? And I was told that if everything was perfect, we could run perfect, but it isn't. It would be an increase in about $15 on top of the $12 we're paying, which comes to $27. There's no way in hell that I would support something like that. I would like to look at it, once we got close to paying off that money we owe the state, which is a non-interest bearing account, I wouldn't have any problem looking at that and working on it, but, to get the citizens to pay $27 is a subject that came up during election time, saying we're gonna keep the cost of our utilities down. At least that's what I got from the conversations that were taking place during election time, and so I too would like to get the cost to the citizens down, not up. And so if they can come up with a way to do away with flow control and not have to increase the landfill, I might be on board with something like that.
Well, we'll look at all those numbers and see. I have my own ideas about how that would work. Councilman Garner?
Amy, is this okay to talk about, just because my family owns Dirty Boys, and that's who it directly affects the most?
I think you should just, indicate that, you know, from the beginning of a conflict, but you're stating that out front,
Okay, and
and you're not taking action.
right, okay. So one of the things, a couple of things that I've looked at or, listened to up here is we don't wanna increase the cost. One of the things that I've mentioned before is the cost right now is offset for people who take their own trash to the landfill versus people who use the, haulers. A hauler pays, each customer pays $130 a ton that uses a hauler. And if you haul your own trash, you pay $100 a ton. There's a $30 a ton, difference there. That I think it should be straight across the board, $130 for everybody, if you haul your own trash or if you use a hauler. I think that would be fair. One of the other things, we have to pay this bill, and I hate to even mention this, but the dump days that we do, we haul, I think, what is it, about 480 tons? At $130 a ton, that's roughly $63,000 a year that we give away to, that we lose because we allow this much trash to be hauled for free and we eat it. So, and I might be wrong, is that the correct, is the 130 a ton the correct number for the?
That's the rate across the scale, so we do waive the fee, which I believe, I'd have to pull the number to tell you what because we do have to pay that back to the landfill because it's an enterprise fund.
Right.
And then our hauling costs, right now, it's the 43 at Casper, so that's the fee where,
Right.
and then to actually haul, it's the 32 per ton.
Okay.
So that's, we would be losing that, and then we would pay to reimburse the, waived fees for the citizens. And I do have those amounts, I just would rather pull them and email them to you guys just to make sure they're accurate.
Okay. So, just, there's some, we're losing a lot of money. If we have something to pay for, we should pay for it. We shouldn't, in my eyes, we shouldn't be just throwing away money on the side when we have a rule in place that directly affects the haulers. And I don't know, to me, it's not fair to tell people you have to do business only here, you can't take your business anywhere else. As a business owner, if I did that, I wouldn't be able to keep my business open. And when we can't say if we got rid of flow control, Dirty Boys, if they use their facility or don't use their facility, they still will probably use the landfill. So it's not a direct, you lost their 2,200 tons that they haul per year. You maybe you only lose, 1,000 tons, but they haul another 1,800 tons to you, so you're still making your money, so.
Less expense as well.
Yeah.
But that's the point of having a big discussion,
Right.
right?
I just want, I don't know.
It's not gonna get settled in one night. We're gonna probably be presented with enough numbers to make us dizzy. And then, we'll all go home and think about it and build our own spreadsheets probably. And then, but the more information we have, the more intelligent of a conversation we can have. Get the numbers in, the emotions out, and let's see what happens. Councilman Smith?
In your proposal, when you're working all the numbers, I would like the bottom line that if both of our haulers decide that they're not gonna use our landfill, I wanna know what the enterprise fund is gonna have to do to sustain a landfill for our citizens. Bottom line, that's where I'm coming from. I want something to be here for our citizens. So if we lose both haulers to, if they take trash Colorado or wherever, I wanna know what happens to our bottom line. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have anything? I'm gonna call a 5-minute recess.
We've been talking about everything in the front, haven't we?
Time out for tiny little Tetley tea.
I wish I had somebody to tea with my own, Aaron.
She's doing really well.
Yeah, I wish I had tea with my
She got in it.
Wasn't bouncing my microphone tonight, notice that.
I
noticed
did.
it right away.
So
Last
proud.
meeting I heard this, I'm thinking, who is doing? And finally she told me it was me.
Yeah, boy.
And then we don't get the actual, oh, I do, okay. Okay, so I can get the, you need it? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, thank you.
he had to take the conflict, because there was no action taken tonight. So maybe before the next workshop, we indicate that.
You and I need to talk about something. I have to review twice. Anyway, he's gonna let you know more about it. Yeah. I did an interview today.
Who has you?
It's just crazy, I got 10 more to go. Oh, my God. No, I don't think I will. I was sitting here staring at you. And now I know you are. It's gonna take a couple more times. So how are you?
I think I could have, I was willing to push it, but. Oh, look, there's nothing.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. We get up to the hospital and some of those.
There's a few little places
Yeah.
that do it.
I
I didn't know they still did challenge points. I knew it was a World War II thing, but I didn't know. Like a really old.
Hot in the bar. We have one, I need a one, we can look like we have a short girl. We're remodeling the living room, so Doug was still on there. Who are you?
Oh, so you should have known better, huh?
I should have known.
I didn't know what the rules were. I mean, I know that there's rules for, set it on the counter and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't get started in that,
When you go down there next time, or when you wanna go on one more really cool trip, go to Encampment and
When
go
drinks are being bought, it's worse
That
for
is the most,
everybody, right?
there and safety. Those are two places that will tell you so much about participating.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, you,
On the workshop.
I wish I had a picture.
No, you know, it's funny because I started so heavily in Turkey and I was like, what? And I did not want to.
Sure, I wish you would.
But I was glad that I didn't have to,
Yeah.
Stepped around the corner and, okay, let's
and they
now.
also called the couple.
One structure right Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you did that. Yeah.
Hey, I'm still logged in, so I'm gold.
Are y'all ready? All right,
I didn't get booted.
I'll call this meeting back to order. And the next thing on our agenda is the new business. And so therefore, approval of payroll, I would entertain a motion. Councilman Smith?
I move to approve the March 28th, 2021 through April 10th, 2021 payroll register for $236,057.10.
Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Durr seconds it, so the motion's been, made and seconded to approve the March 28th, 2021 through April 10th, 21 payroll register for $236,057.10. Is there any discussion? Please open online voting.
Can I vote yes? My computer logged me out. Okay. Now it's wanting to boot. No problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, online voting has now closed. It passes with 6 yeas.
All right, thank you. The next thing on our agenda is approval of, accounts payable. Councilman Smith?
I move to approve the accounts payable register for the period of March 27th, 2021 to April 9th, 2021, in the amount of $478,262.20.
Is there a second? Councilman Durr seconds it.
He was just pointing out your second.
Oh, what?
No, it's okay.
Okay. There's been a motion made and seconded to approve the accounts payable register for the period of March 27th, 2021 to April 9th, 2021, in the amount of $478,262.20. Is there any further discussion? Please open online voting.
It's still not letting me in, so yes, please.
Oh, yeah, here it is. It's working kind of sluggish tonight.
Online voting has now closed. Motion carries with 6 yeas.
All right, thank you. The next thing on the agenda is a proclamation for Arbor Day 2021. The presenter will be, Josh Martinez. Would you like to come up, Josh?
Honorable Mayor and council members, I am here tonight to ask you to pass this proclamation announcing Friday, April 23rd as City of Rawlins Arbor Day. As many know, our city's urban forest is an important part of this community's infrastructure. It not only provides beautification, which ties into the city's strategic plan under community beautification, it also increases property values and provides economic stability, which falls under the community and economic development, decreases energy consumption, improves physiological and physical health, provides habitat for wildlife and plant diversity, reduces air pollution by aiding in removing carbon dioxide and other particulates from the atmosphere, reduces noise pollution by absorbing block noise, and conserves water and reduces soil erosion. The city's Arbor Day celebration is a promotion of planting of trees for these benefits through the means of selling trees at cost to the public, offering free seedlings donated by the Saratoga Encampment Rollins Conservation District, providing information and advice about planting and caring of trees to its citizens, including growing and planting education from Abby Perry from the University of Wyoming Carbon County Extension Office. At this year's celebration, the city will be offering 3 and 7 gallon Colorado spruce, Lodi apples, Radian crab apples, silver maples, and autumn blaze maples, among others. And the free seedlings donated by the SER Conservation District this year include some Colorado blue spruce, lodgepole pine, ponderosa pine, and chokecherry. An Arbor Day proclamation and celebration are also requirements to be declared a Tree City USA. The Arbor Day Foundation declares a city or municipality a Tree City USA when it is recognized for its work and efforts to promote the planting of trees and its recognition of its urban forests with its many benefits. And I am happy to announce that the City of Rollins was once again declared a Tree City USA for 2021, our 26th consecutive year of achieving this national recognition.
Awesome.
Any questions?
No, thank you. I'll take that. I'm good with this, I like that.
All right, thank you.
I want chokecherry, Joe.
You want chokecherry? Okay.
I'm not gonna be here.
So you want me to read this proclamation, I'm sure is what I should do.
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay. A proclamation of the Mayor of the City of Rollins, Carbon County, Wyoming, proclaiming April 23rd, 2021 as Arbor Day. Whereas the Wyoming State Legislature has adopted the act designating an Arbor Day, and whereas it is the purpose of the designation of this day throughout the nation to encourage the planting of shade and forest trees, to encourage the harvesting of forests by approved conservation methods, and to encourage the protection of our forests from misuse that destroys the beauty and utility of our forests, as well as their wildlife. And whereas the cooperation of all residents of the City of Rollins, the beneficial effect of tree planting can be materially increased. We can pass on an enduring heritage of a vital natural resource to succeeding generations. Therefore, I, Terry L. Wycombe, Mayor of the City of Rollins, Wyoming, do hereby proclaim Friday, 23rd, 2021 as Arbor Day in our community, and urge everyone able to do so observe this day by planting at least one tree and by participating in Arbor Day celebration provided by the city and other sponsors. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of Rollins, Wyoming to be affixed to this 20th day of April 2021, City of Rollins, a Wyoming municipal corporation. All right, next thing on our agenda is, I'm looking for my mouse. The next thing on our agenda is to approve the, COR new restaurant liquor license application, DBA, Pizza Hut. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve a liquor license for COR new restaurant liquor license application, La Abuelita Mexican Restaurant LLC, GMRG, ACQ1 LLC, doing business as Pizza Hut.
Do I hear a second? Councilman Smith?
Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded to approve the COR new restaurant, liquor license applications for La Abuelita Mexican Restaurant LLC and GMRD ACQ1 LLC DBA Pizza Hut. Is there any discussion? Amy?
Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, Honorable Council, the City of Rollins City Clerk received 2 applications for restaurant liquor licenses. Those applications are brought before you. They have been published according to Wyoming statute. Those publications were made in the Rollins Times on April 10th and April 17th, 2021, and they were posted to the City of Rollins website on, as of April 16th, 2021. Tonight's public hearing meeting, component has been, met, earlier tonight. Just to give you some background on what the council as a local licensing authority should be looking at. Number 1, zoning. Both La Abuelita Mexican Restaurant LLC, which is located at 304 East Cedar Street, is zoned as C2. A restaurant serving liquor is a permitted use according to Rollins Municipal Code 19.32020, and the subsection specifically is restaurant, liquor, retailers, dining club. GMRG ACQ1 LLC, doing business as Pizza Hut, is located at 506 Higley Boulevard. That is also zoned as C2, meaning a restaurant serving liquor is a permitted use according to Rollins Municipal Code 19.32020. The subsection again is number 69, a restaurant, liquor, retailer, dining club. Zoning was confirmed in writing with the Community Development Director. Moving on to the ownership of the premises, La Abuelita Mexican Restaurant LLC is owned by Daniel Hernandez and Maria Sanchez Villan. They are husband and wife. In compliance with both state statute and local requirements, the license application accompanied a fully executed lease agreement from the real property owners to the licensed applicants. It's throughout the term of the license period. It includes the required provision indicating that alcohol and malt beverages will be sold. La Abuelita Mexican Restaurant LLC is a perpetual LLC. It is current and in good standing with the Wyoming Secretary of State's office, and Daniel Hernandez is listed as an organizer. Turning to GRMG ACQ1 LLC, doing business as Pizza Hut, 506 Higley Boulevard. Rollins is owned by AFM ABS PRO P001 LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, and they have a successor in interest in ARG PH31 SLB001, again a Delaware limited liability company. Pursuant to an assignment and assumption of lease between ARG and AFN, which was dated May 30th, 2019. In compliance with both state and local requirements, the license application does accompany a fully executed lease agreement from the real property owners to the licensed applicants, or the applicants in this matter, throughout the term of this license period, and includes the required provision indicating that alcohol and malt beverages will be sold. GRMG ACQW1 LLC, doing business as Pizza Hut, is a perpetual limited liability company. It is current and in good standing with Wyoming Secretary of State, with the National Registered Agents Incorporated as their designated agent or registered agent. The hours of operation as stated in their new application indicates that La Abuelita Mexican Restaurant has identified its hours of operation from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m., Monday through Sunday, during the months of January through December. GRMG ACQ1 LLC, doing business as Pizza Hut, has identified its hours of operation from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday through Thursday, and 2 a.m., and then, till 10, and then 2 a.m., they will close Friday and Saturday, Monday through Sunday during the months of January through December. Neither of the applicants are declaring seasonal operation, and so that matter is not before you. They're identifying full-time operation. No request for park licensing. They will be issued, upon your approval, they will be issued, and become, operating according to the terms of their license. Because these are restaurant license permits, we have obtained additional information from the Department of Agriculture, just for your information on their permits. La Abuelita Mexican Restaurant LLC, although it has not opened its doors, has provided a review of plans and specifications to the Department of Agriculture. It was reviewed by Mikhail Murray on April 2nd, 2021, and the status shows it's approved. Again, they do not have a final permit because they have not completed their construction yet, but they have provided us with that initial approval. GRMG ACQ1 LLC, doing business as Pizza Hut, has provided us with a Wyoming Department of Agriculture retail food license, which expires on February 14th, 2022. Both documents are filed in the respective liquor files in the city clerk's office. We do not have authority over that licensing, but it does provide you with the authority that they are fully operational and following both state and local regulations. That's the importance of providing that information to you. They both have provided dispensing room drawings according to the state statute and local requirements, and they both have provided statements of financial condition and financial stability. Those, again, are on file in the city clerk's office and available. Both of the applications were signed under oath and verified by the licensed applicants. The applications and the license was forwarded to the Wyoming Liquor Division, and the Wyoming Liquor Division has responded that they have found no deficiencies in any of the applications. At this time, staff does recommend approval and issuance of the 2 new liquor licenses within the city of Rawlins for the licensing period of April 21st, 2020 through March 31st, 2021. And just as a side note, the city of Rawlins has indicated to you that we would provide the governing body with a list or an update of all parked retail liquor licenses. As of this date, we still have 1 parked liquor license. It's due to become unparked anytime, but it's still currently parked.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilman Martinez?
I just have one question, and I don't know if the clerk's not, I don't know if you know that, sometimes I go to Pizza Hut, and their licenses, they can't sell beer at that time.
They cannot sell beer right now. Their license expired in March 31st
Oh,
of
is
this
that why
year.
it expires and then they come back and ask for
So
it?
they didn't renew it. They were
Okay.
looking due to COVID. They wanted to see what their numbers were. So I had a police officer go and pick up their current liquor license that expired, so I have it in the file. So that there's nothing showing at their office, at the resident.
I don't have a problem with anything that you're doing. I just was wondering if
No,
I go in
that's
there to have a
perfectly
beer, when I get a pizza and they
You will
couldn't
be
sell
able
me
to
any.
shortly.
Yes, as of, I will,
If you so vote.
yes, as long as these go through, I will deliver them tomorrow to
Okay,
the appropriate restaurant
okay, thank
and,
you,
take down the other findings. Okay?
thank you.
Councilman Smith?
I just want to say, and Amy, this is directed mostly at you and Lynn, I guess, but it is so refreshing to have a kind of report in front of us with all of the questions answered, so we don't have to just kind of float through something and hope that we're making the right decision. But that was really great, thank you.
Any further discussion? Please open online voting.
Online voting has now closed. The motion passes with 6 yeas.
Thank you. All right, thank you. The next thing on our agenda is to approve notification of the commencement of the 90-day appeal period of the FEMA flood hazard determination. Councilman Wells?
I make a motion to approve the notification of the commencement of the 90-day appeal period of the FEMA flood hazard determination.
Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded, to approve notification of the commencement of the 90-day appeal period of the FEMA flood hazard determination. Is there any discussion? And Danielle?
Honorable Mayor and City Council, we did receive this letter dated April 7th, putting us on notice for the 90-day appeal period. The letter is attached for your reference as well. It does identify that if we choose to, appeal this process, we would need to notify FEMA within the 90-day period. And we would need to do with scientific or technical data. If we choose to do this, we will need to bring in an engineer. I have had numerous conversations with FEMA and with Kim Johnson with the state of Wyoming. And it is my understanding and my belief from all of those conversations that FEMA's mapping is probably pretty accurate, and we would probably or could potentially run into a challenge of appealing that. So I do think that possibly the better option, if you guys so choose, it is your choice, may be to actually, instead of spending the money to try and appeal it, is actually spend some money and try to mitigate it. There are a couple different mitigation grants out there available for this to help us fund those projects, and through mitigation, we could potentially reduce that area, or even as extreme as eliminate, depending on what that mitigation project looks like, which I don't know at this point. There's a lot of unknowns still. I did talk to Mr. Johnson, who is actually working from home right now, but said he would be available via phone. If you guys do have specific questions, we can call him as well, or I will try to answer the best I can.
I have a question.
Yes.
So what we're, may or may not be approving is just that we know that we're in the 90-day window? Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
So,
or is this stating that we'll appeal it?
At this point, you guys, if we're going to appeal it, we need to know now so that we can move forward. So you would be making a decision if we choose to, if we're choosing to move forward with an appeal or go a different route. Because what we'll have to, like I said, work with an engineer through the appeal. The staff does not have the expertise or knowledge to do the scientific or technical appeal of this. Like, they start whipping out some numbers to me, and I'm like, I have no clue what you're saying, so.
So what are we appealing, the area which they're saying is a floodplain?
Correct. We would be saying the map, the draft map that they've provided to us, we're saying that we appeal that they're, essentially, they're wrong, and we think our flood area is different than that.
And they're pretty much stating that, no, our map's gonna be correct, even if you appeal it.
Yes.
Can we do both? Can we appeal it and work towards mitigation
Absolutely.
simultaneously?
Absolutely, yes.
That's what I think we should do. Councilman Smith?
Yeah, Mayor, I'm kind of, first of all, in previous years, we had a 500-year floodplain. We were able to pass every grant that we ever wanted based on that from the county planning office. And now along comes FEMA, and we have a little creek running, a dry creek running through our area. And I don't know if it's a 20 or 50-year flood or what it is. But on the bottom line of this, it affects the housing in those areas. And that means those folks are gonna have to pay mortgage insurance or some kind of, extra $90 a month or whatever it is.
300 to
For a
500
year.
a month.
Well, I'm sorry, the $90 a month is what I was going on, maybe that's wrong. But I just feel that it affects our citizens. And I don't wanna have any undue burden on the folks that live in those areas. But so I'm feeling that maybe if we try to mitigate it, that will raise some of those areas that will lessen the burden on those particular housing units. And I'm just throwing that out there, but I'm having kind of lockjaw that they're coming back after all these years and decided that there's a little FEMA problem down there, a flood problem.
And it is a 100-year plain.
Is it a 100-year
floodplain?
plan?
Yeah.
So we still have to mitigate it out under a 100-year plan.
So when did we receive that map? I apologize.
The map was received in July of last year.
And I guess I don't think it's gonna make any changes, but what it does is if I can see the map, then I can tell my constituents when they ask me, and they have, they've stopped me at the post
Yeah, and I should have put the map on this agenda item, I apologize for that, and I had sent it out previously. Also, I have had some, citizens come to my office and I printed that for them. I do have it digitally, I can send that out to you guys again. For the most part, it is on south side that is affected, and it's right along kind of State Davis, that area, the railroad.
Where does it stop going south? Is it Davis, or, I always thought it was State?
It is Davis, actually. It extends, not the entire length, I apologize. But there are properties along Davis that it touches the north side of them. I don't believe there's a spot that it actually crosses the south side of Davis, but it does touch those properties.
Cause I was thinking that line went off of State Street, from State Street north.
It is a hard map to see, so we've zoomed in and, I do know specifically, we looked at, Leroy's property and where he lives, so that's how, I know for sure it hits those properties, and it does affect any property that it touches. You do not have to be, even if your property is not fully inside of that floodplain, if it touches the corner, you're in that requirement.
So how about, east on Davis? How far up, like the park, up? Where does it stop?
I have that map pulled up if you wanna come look at it.
Yeah, I think I'd have to.
Doesn't it go all the way down Sugar Creek?
So on the east side, the State Street is kind of the cutoff, and then over on the west side, it goes all the way down to Davis. And yes, Linda, it does follow Sugar Creek pretty much along that whole area. And then when it crosses over, it looks like 80, it goes a little bit more south in that area. Cause it does go into our wastewater treatment plant property as well.
If council wants to review it or anyone online, it is at rawlinswy.org/FEMA, so just our website /FEMA. And it's just under the center map.
So what we're voting on tonight, what is it that we're actually voting on?
Well, so you guys have, and I put the options in here, so I guess this is the first question I would ask you guys is, do we wanna participate in the flood mapping? If the answer is no, at this point, we're done. We notify FEMA that we are not a participating community. There are still consequences with that. So no, that's not just saying we step away, we're done. Now, if we say yes to that, then our options are, do we want to appeal the process with an engineer and begin that? Do we want, our second would be, do we accept the flood hazard area as it is and begin mitigation project? Or any combination of that? So that's kind of, it's, at this point, what do you guys want to do?
So this is the decision?
Yes, this is, and again, because we need to know, we have 90 days from April 21st.
So I do remember the reason it kind of tied your hands was you can't get those government loans if you don't get it.
Federally backed mortgages.
Yeah, your federally backed mortgages, which most of those houses down in that area are first-time type homes, so it'd be really hard to get the good mortgages down in that area. And then it also, if there was a flood, those houses would not be covered. So there's a lot of reasons you can't just say, no, let's not do it. But it's very unfortunate. It affects some of our lowest income populations.
Well,
That's right.
what it is, I think we ought to approve this. I think we ought to fight it in every way possible. I think we should do this, and I also think we should look at mitigation very vigorously, because one of the things is, if you own a house and you have it paid for, you don't have to pay for the flood insurance, however, you're 100% exposed. What's the odds? You have to figure that out. But if, let's say that you wanna sell, you have one of those homes, and you wanna sell it, you either have to find somebody with 100% cash, finance it yourself, or whatever, because if they go get a federal loan, then it has to have the flood insurance. The flood insurance, what I've been told, runs from $300 to $500. It starts out and within 4 years, it's up around 300 to 500
I
a
think it
month.
I think it was closer.
So there was a wide range, I think it was as low as 100 a month.
Still a lot of
which-
money.
Right, but that was a very, when we researched that, there was not a clear
Yeah.
answer on that at all. It was a very, I mean, 'cause if I recall correctly, it was like $100 to $1,000. It was a huge range, for the insurance. It also depended on what you owed. So, you know, if I have a federally backed mortgage and I only owe $50,000, I only have to have coverage for $50,000, but if Jackie, my neighbor, owes $300,000, she has to have coverage for $300,000.
And if there's a flood and you have a $300,000 house and you're covered for 50, they hand you 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct, yeah,
It only covers that loan.
correct.
And I looked
that is
at
true.
my house and the size of it and what I felt it was worth and whatnot, and if it were in the floodplain, which I don't think it is, but if it were, it would be very high. I had a piece of property in Torrington and it was 80 acres, 40 of it was in the floodplain. I couldn't borrow a penny on it, I had to pay for it, obviously, but I could not borrow a penny on it. No one would loan me money on it, I couldn't build anything on it, the county wouldn't let me. I mean, it just, we have to fight this as hard as we possibly can. So my suggestion is we need to pass this, and then we have to, immediately work very vigorously to, work on mitigation.
The engineer, is that something that we would search for, an engineer to do it?
Yeah, we need to get an engineer that has, hydrology and hydraulic knowledge and has worked through this floodplain stuff before. There's actually numerous in the state of Wyoming. In fact, we have a, master services agreement with Engineering Associates, and they do have some staff, they do have some employees on their staff that have this experience. So that might be.
So what would you think the cost on that would be?
I don't know. I'm sorry, it's, I think gonna depend, it's gonna depend what they find. I think we have a ability to save some money if we were to go with EA, because they are familiar with the city of Rollins and our layout and what the town looks like. They wouldn't have to get boots on the ground necessarily, because they've been here already, but I don't know what the cost,
That's something we could find out before we, get to discussing the budget. That's something that we need to know so that we're gonna hire one where we can find the money to do it. Does that sound?
If we hire an engineer, we only have the 90 days, so we need to hire them and move forward.
June 21st is what I calculated, right?
Right, so,
April 21st to June 21st.
right.
They
we
would have to be in the process of doing it, or
they
they'd have to be done with their assessment by June 21st.
The letter specifically says that, if we cannot submit our scientific and technical data before the 90 days, that we can submit something like showing this is what we have. So I do think there's a little bit of wiggle room there, but I think we would definitely need to, heavily communicate with FEMA to make sure that they know, like, depending what you guys say tonight, if you say appeal, I'm actually going to tomorrow reach out to them and say, it is the city of Rollins' intent to appeal this is what we're doing, and put them on notice immediately, and then communicate every step of the way, like, this is what we have, you know, what other questions you have, and going back to that's where the cost is gonna be hard, because this isn't something where I can say, okay, we're gonna bid out this piece of equipment and this is a fixed cost. Like, it's going to be a changing, fluid thing, and that's difficult to do.
Councilman Garnet?
If we say yes, and accept this, floodplain, we can get grants, is that correct? That opens us up to some funding.
Yes.
And can we use that for mitigation?
Yes, there's actually, two grants specific to floodplain mitigation that we have the ability, to go out for. And when we start actually mitigating, I did do some research on those, they will cover a portion of engineering for the mitigation, but they will not for the appeal.
Okay, And then my next question, if it is 100% mitigated, will they remove that,
Designation.
yeah?
Yes,
And then
so as, 'cause when we go through the mitigation process, we would work directly with FEMA, to identify with them and the engineers what's gonna create the best reduced floodplain or getting rid of it. So then, once that mitigation project is complete, we would just go into maintenance and then they would reevaluate the floodplain area.
So if it was, it could be temporary for how long they have to carry insurance, or the effect could be temporary if we can get it 100%.
Councilman Smith?
Also, the larger picture too, if, we have a floodplain and we don't accept it, it does affect all federal pass-through grants that we would get in the city, which means we would get the depot unless we have this. So we're kinda in between two things, so, I'm picking up on what, Councilman Garner is saying. I think if we can mitigate it out, it's the best approach for the folks that we are serving, or we're all serving. It opens up those folks that can't have it mitigated out. Yes, they're gonna take a hit, but at least if they've got mortgages, people can sell their houses. They're gonna have a temporary mortgage thing that they're gonna pay for a little while. I don't like doing it to them, but in the end, I like to preserve their assets for them. So I think mitigating it out is probably the best answer to do, and then it saves our potential to get all federal grants.
I think we should fight with both hands, myself. I think we should pass this and aggressive, odds of us saying we don't agree with you and not working, super slim. However, if we do this and work to mitigate it, I just think we need to do both, but. Councilman Garner?
I'm gonna concur with what the mayor's saying. I don't think we have much choice. If we do nothing, and they say we're in a floodplain, those people are gonna have to pay. So at least we have to give them the opportunity that we challenged it, and we let them know that we're all in the same boat, and we challenged it, and we win or lose.
Councilman Garner?
Yeah, one thing, maybe we could ask is there something we could apply for, a grant or something for the people that will take the hardship of this, that, will offset the cost of that insurance?
We did ask that, and there is not any financial assistance for the individuals that would have to pay that insurance, unfortunately. But that was a question that we had asked.
Councilman Durst?
Sorry, did you have a?
No, go ahead.
So do we know, I mean, I get it, so we move forward with mitigation. Do we know that there is mitigation to be had there? Is there, I mean, do we know for a fact that there is these particular steps that can be changed or done? You see what I'm asking? Like, do we already know that there are certain steps that can be taken, or are we gonna go into this completely blind with no idea how we're going in any direction?
So there are absolutely steps that can be taken. To what extent, I don't know. So we worked with FEMA. We actually have storm sewer infrastructure over there, large pipes, and we were like, hey, it can support all this, but it doesn't support a 100-year, it only supports a 10-year floodplain. So there are things, but how much will actually reduce it is unknown. It might be
So we could
5
go
properties,
through, we could
might
go
be
through the mitigation
50.
efforts, and they might say, well, you're right, that one house is pulled out, but the rest of this stays the same.
Could be.
Potentially, yes. And through the mitigation process, we would work to find what project is gonna be affordable for us, what can we afford to do, what can we get a grant for that's gonna have the most impact. And throughout that process, you guys will be a part of it. You know, as staff, we're gonna say, hey, here's our options, you know, it cost us $1 million and we can take out 100 houses, or we can spend 10,000 and it'll take out 20, or whatever that may be. We'll definitely would keep you guys in the loop and working on that.
If this infrastructure program passes in Washington, that there'll be monies available for low to moderate income, neighborhoods, because I know that I got that on the web, one time I was reading about, that's sort of one of the main things that they're talking about good chance that there'll be another grant out there to help solve these problems by taking care of some of these, putting in bigger pipes or whatever. Does that sound?
We're kind of getting in the weeds a little bit, but we have a motion in front of us to or not to, well, there's a motion to approve this. Is there any more, does anybody have any other questions that would help them decide whether they're going to approve or not approve this, I guess is where I'm at. And if not, yes.
Do we have to go out to bid, in order to get an engineering firm on here, would it have to go out to bid, or can we just hire a firm to do this?
Sole source it.
Is that Amy? Could we just hire an engineering firm to move forward on this, or would it have to go out to bid to hire a firm?
So professional services is an exemption. I would recommend that the city identify at least 2, maybe 3, with this expertise and call and get an hourly fee. And then based upon their experience, prior work experience on FEMA appeals, award the most, the one that has the best experience and the most confident that we feel moving forward.
Follow up, Mr. Mayor. Would it be unreasonable to, I mean, I get it, I'm not against this idea, I'm just, would it be reasonable to reach out to some of those guys over the next couple of weeks to get a feel for, I realize that we're not gonna get an exact number, but a feel for kind of roughly what kind of a cost this is going to be to go down these roads? I mean, it could literally be $1 million to fight this.
Well, it could, but this is what I think. If we appeal this and it works, 2 things, it would be a miracle, and it wasn't gonna hurt nothing. I mean, all we're doing is saying we don't agree, basically. If we don't do this, and we go the mitigation route, I mean, it's just fighting with one hand or two.
Well, I get that, but this is saying in order to appeal it, you have to send in scientific data, which means you're gonna have to hire an engineering firm to put forward that data to send in for an appeal. You can't just simply say, no, we disagree.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to the appeal. I'm just saying that would it be in our interest, before we just say, yes, go appeal and fight this, to get a rough idea what that process would take? I realize it's gonna take, 2 weeks.
Would waiting 2 weeks hurt anything, Danielle?
I don't know that, I mean, we are going to have a very short deadline, but I think, again, if we know that's the direction we're going and we over-communicate with FEMA, I will be honest with you guys, my fear is that we go to appeal this and we fight it and work with an engineer, and they're gonna come back without the scientific or technical data to even be able to appeal it. So I will do whatever you guys want, but I just wanna be clear that would be my concern, and I wonder or feel that it would be better money spent rather than spending the money to appeal it, to start spending the money to mitigate it and working on getting the grant funding. Because I truly think in all of our conversations, I mean, and we went back and forth, we sent them GIS maps, we sent them the size of our pipes, Kim Johnson came and walked to the Sugar Creek, to actually physically see it and look at it, and everything that we've gotten back, we're nowhere close, to meeting those requirements. Again, it is completely up to you guys, I do feel that I need to share those concerns.
So if
That
we decide to mitigate,
my mind a little.
would the motion be, to mitigate versus to appeal it?
That's not the motion, though. We're here to decide whether we're going to appeal it or not. That's what this is about. And then there would have to be another situation as to what we do else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm confused on what's actually on the.
Well,
Can you
this-
repeat the motion that she made?
I didn't get the most because I didn't understand.
It's on here as approved notification of commencement of the 90-day appeal period of the FEMA flood hazard determination. So, you would need a friendly amendment, a first and a second, to either
whatever you wanna do. You have the option of appealing, moving forward with appealing the decision, or the, 90-day appeal, filing an appeal and seeking the scientific data that you need. Or you can move forward with, mitigation efforts and seeking
Yeah.
grant funding, or both.
I've changed my mind. Vice Mayor.
I would
Wolf.
like to make a friendly amendment to my original motion, to work towards mitigation of the flood hazard.
FEMA flood. Who seconded that?
And I would second it again. I second
Okay.
the motion, and I'll second.
So now the now the motion reads, to
work
To-
towards, it has,
to not notify the commencement of the 90-day appeal period, but rather to, move towards mitigation of the FEMA flood hazard determination, is that correct?
Just a point of clarification, the 90-day appeal period has begun, and so that is triggered by the notification we received by certified mail. So your options are, as a municipality, are to appeal it, to file a notice of appeal and provide the information to them, or move forward with mitigation efforts, to try and reduce the floodplain that's been identified, or both. Or lastly, you can identify that you don't even wanna be a part, but there are tremendous ramifications for that, so,
I want the second one, she said.
So to proceed with mitigation efforts.
that would be great. Then seek grant funding.
Yes.
And I would agree with that.
One of you should come out with this. I am.
So it sounds intelligent, and I said all that.
Make her sound good.
Can't you use this
I
option
have
two,
to all-
accept the current flood hazard area and begin work with an engineer
The,
on
the
mitigation?
second one she said,
Yeah,
not,
that's,
is that what?
Yeah, that is in
Option
there.
two.
Oh, option two,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We could have done it back.
It is, yes, in the board docs option two.
But I think that's what we did, it's just we don't know what that says when we're done.
Yeah, I think
So now we're clarifying what
They're making
the
it sound
amendment
hard.
is, yeah,
So I'm just copying all of two.
okay, good, Jackie.
that's confusing.
Oh,
it's hard.
Weird.
I think
And I don't.
the federal government has suffered so much in the way of FEMA that they're going around the country trying to figure out how to pay for all the crap they already paid for. Or whatever, that's what I believe.
So the
They're
city would, does
picking
not
up the
address
scraps and
The
leaving.
current
And it's
flood
unfortunate
hazard
that our
area.
lowest
Yeah.
economic
But,
status individuals are gonna be.
but honestly, Phil, that in almost every community, that is who they're gonna hit. I mean, really, you go to almost any town I'm aware of, and where they would probably have a floodplain is probably the lower dollar homes, lower income, you know, older parts of town,
so
stuff like
that's,
that.
form of the motion, so,
If they didn't
so
go
I
fine,
move.
Yeah,
we appealed,
yeah. Did you win?
no. It was irrigation districts that were higher than the floodplain was.
Yeah,
The city
it's hard to beat them.
begins.
They tied our hands.
Yeah,
They
but we do need to
Mitigate.
work towards mitigation. If we can't win on an appeal, which that's what I'm hearing,
Yeah,
On a mitigation.
and there's no chance of winning on an appeal, then
Let's focus our.
let's just, and I had that wrong in my head. I forgot about the
And
scientific stuff had to go with it.
Grant funding.
But the fact of the matter is, if we're gonna end up spending a bunch of money on this, but it is gonna be worth every penny of
The
it.
mitigation should have a good effect.
If we have
Agreed.
any luck with the mitigation, which everything can be mitigated, it's just, what's that gonna cost, and can we get grants to do it?
and I'm going to say, pipelines and water are in that infrastructure.
That's right.
Sure.
Yeah, it's probably gonna go to Detroit and all over, but we can at least try.
Well, it's X amount of money that go through the state, then we have the right to go to the state.
There's so much.
Plan an investment and ask for funding for this, any changes that we gotta make.
if the engineers come in and found proof that it wouldn't affect us, could we reverse this
Yes.
acceptance?
Well,
Well, they would have to.
Or you would just have
They
to
would mitigate.
provide all of it, and then that would be the mitigation.
well, yeah, we would have to
Okay.
prove that through mitigation. Hey, we put in a bigger pipe, we don't have that problem,
Well, I mean, if
whatever.
we didn't, if we brought them in and they looked at everything and they said, no, they messed up here,
Yeah,
we could say, okay, here's our,
but the engineer we hired to do the mitigation
could do
probably
that.
guide us through that process.
I would think so.
Are we ready to read the real live, no kidding motion?
This is good discussion, though, Mayor, I think it's valid, very good.
Scary stuff.
Dan, how long would they have to get that in?
They told us it's 90 days, I believe, from the official adoption of the map, not from this appeal. Right now, we're in the appeal. So FEMA right now is anticipating that the maps will become official and approved in 22.
Okay.
So that's the other good thing about us going forward with mitigation now. We can hopefully get where we don't have a huge lapse there.
If you refresh, you should be able to see the new, motion. I've never actually seen this happen, so I'm gonna.
No, we can do a voice vote, we can
I
read the
can-
motion, I can read it. Okay. The motion reads, I move the city begins working on a mitigation plan and seeks grant funding to help reduce the flood hazard area on behalf of our citizens.
Perfect. Good
Sounds
job,
good.
Jackie.
Is there any further discussion? Please open online voting.
It's open. Online voting has now closed. The motion carries with 6 yeas.
Thank you. All right, the next thing on our agenda is, to consider an ordinance, on the first reading of an ordinance amending, code 2.56. I would entertain a motion. Councilman Smith?
Move to approve the first reading and waive the reading of the ordinance amending Rollins Municipal Code. Am I in the right one?
Yes.
2.56 Urban Systems Advisory Committee.
Councilman Wells seconds it. So there's been a motion made and seconded to approve the first reading and waive the reading of the ordinance amending the Rollins Municipal Code, Chapter 2.56 Urban Systems Advisory Committee. Open for discussion, and Daniel?
Honorable Mayor and City Council, the Urban Systems had a meeting on March 31st, and they looked at this ordinance. So this is their rules and regulations. They don't have kind of bylaws outside of the ordinance, so it is coming to you guys as an ordinance revision. They did make a recommendation, to move this forward to you guys. It will go through the 3 readings. However, I would like to let you guys know that I would like to request actually a change from what they're recommending. And I apologize, I've been working with Planning Commission, Board of Adjustments, and Urban Systems on their bylaws, and I missed this in Urban Systems. So, if you look at what's being proposed to you guys on the second page, item F, it says members may be removed with or without cause by the entity which appointed them, and goes into that. We actually do not have a process to remove members of our boards, so I would like to request that we just remove that portion. It is highlighted yellow, so it was proposed as an addition. And again, I apologize for missing that. I got it in Planning and Board of Adjustments, but too much going on there, so. But otherwise, if you guys have any questions, I will try to answer them. A lot of this did come, YDOT was actually kind enough to provide a, several-page document with some draft bylaws, and what we did is, kind of picked out some different pieces that we didn't already have for the board to review and look at and, be able to make a motion on.
Councilman Smith?
For clarification, Danielle, on this, so all the yellow parts that I read are the ones that you've changed, is that correct?
Yes, yellow is addition, if it has the strike through, it's being removed. And then I do not remember, the green is actually, kind of secondary review from legal, but I wanted to leave that just to help clarify and show our process, but it would be an addition as well.
Urban Systems has generally approved everything except what you just mentioned.
Correct, yes. Urban Systems, as you see it today, made the recommendation to approve this, after the meeting and after I had put this on the agenda, my mistake was caught, so I wanted to bring that up because I can make the change from first reading to second reading and bring it back to you guys. Or second to third, but.
So if we approve this, the members may be removed thing can be taken out of second reading. And should probably just.
Yeah, we can, because we can amend all the way through third reading, correct?
Or we could do a friendly amendment now, right?
We could do it either way.
If you can, a friendly amendment for your motion and second by removing, the first sentence in subsection F, members may be removed with or without cause by the entity which appointed them, so either way.
Okay, since I made the motion, I'll make a friendly amendment to my motion that we remove from section 2.56040, terms of voting members, number F in its entirety. Number F.
Second for a friendly amendment.
Okay.
Just the first sentence.
Just the first sentence?
Yes.
You want all of it?
No, just the first sentence, because then it goes into, it says that we will reappoint and appoint to prevent vacancies in the committee, and then it says a list of members will be available. So we do that now, and we would continue doing that, so it's just the first sentence removing them.
Okay, so let me
Sorry.
rephrase my motion. The motion will state that I move to approve this document with the removal of the first sentence in section 2.56040, terms of voting members. F members may be removed with or without cause by the entity which is appointed them, remove that, and then retain the rest of that sentence for that paragraph.
And all.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
I seconded it, so I would second that
Okay.
friendly motion.
I seconded it.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion's been made and seconded, and then with a friendly amendment has been adjusted. So, is there any further discussion?
Just a quick question, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, Councilman.
I'm just curious, how come, why do we wanna remove that?
I don't think it's legal to have it in there. I don't think you can remove board members that way because it ends up being, I know with other things I've been involved with, you cannot remove board members the same as we as elected officials can be removed. There's no recall type setup. What it does, it makes sense not to have that in there because it gets rid of the pure political
Part of it? Okay.
And so even if it was legal or was acceptable, I would still like to have that removed.
So then, just to follow up, do we have language, I was trying to read through it all. Do we have language in here that says, if somebody doesn't show up for 3 meetings in a row, I mean, is that, then they can be, I mean, 'cause I guess what I'm hearing here is, once you get appointed to this, you're in it, there's no way to do anything, and, hey, that's, whether you participate or not, you're there, and usually if you're not there for 3 meetings in a row,
Yeah.
so I just wanna,
I understand what you're saying, but we're all in that position.
Yeah. Like, if there is an ordinance, then we have to do that.
Mayor, don't we have an ordinance or a resolution on file somewhere when we started all this redrafting all these bylaws that says if you are, basically missing 3 or more without, well, I'm gonna say with excuse. Without excuse, then you can be declared a vacancy in that particular slot.
It was included in our, uniform bylaws, but those were, we moved away from the uniform bylaws.
Okay.
Here's another thing about this urban systems is not, if all the members were city members, that might have a different deal, but they're not. It's kind of a joint powers situation where there's all kinds of people.
Well,
And Erin, there is not in these, this ordinance, anything that specifically identifies the number of meetings that they have to attend. I will note though, this board only has a minimum of 2 meetings a year. So it is very, they can have more, and we have in the past, but they have to meet minimum. So it is not as often
Not
as,
expected to meet frequently.
yes, where, you know, planning and board of adjustments, they meet more frequently than this board would. So, it is also a larger board. When we have all of our members, there are, 15 voting members and 1 non-voting.
Councilman Smith?
Danielle, when I read this, it also, I hit that point where they were talking about those 15 members, but that only 4 need to be present for a quorum? Was that what I was reading?
It
or what
actually
happened
is
there?
amended to be, I gotta find it again. It's either 7 or 8.
Or did I read it wrong?
Probably 8.
Of course, I can't find it now.
I think that's for adoption and amendment to the bylaws, it requires at least 4 affirmative votes.
That's what I was talking about, you know.
Here's one other thing about this particular board is it's an advisory board.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not gonna be off doing something. It has to go through us. So
They're gonna take a piece of information and then just set forth some advice.
they're gonna bring us, they're gonna advise us as to what they think we should do, and then we still have the choice as to what we do.
I see that I skipped over the city of Rollins, city council, or the board of county commissioners, and board of county commissioners. That's the 4 votes, that's not that board, so I'm in error, so that's what I.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm still overlooking the 7 or 8, but I think, didn't we bump that to 8? Do you see that in 8? Cause I know it's in here.
It's usually half plus 1, so I'm
Yeah.
guessing it would be 8.
Cause I think it was 7 and we increased it to, but again, I'm going blind apparently, sorry.
Yeah,
Getting late.
so 7 voting members shall constitute a quorum under section 2.5606 or 060.
Okay,
Wait, 7 and you have 15?
yeah, we have,
But aren't some of those not, let's say they're, ad hoc members and not full voting members of the 15? So that would be why the 7 would be 14 instead of 15, so 7 would constitute a quorum.
okay, so it's 14. It's 13 voting, 1 non-voting.
That would make sense.
Okay.
So
7
that's
shall
where.
constitute a quorum.
You're on straight now.
I had to finger count, sorry.
Okay, any further discussion?
Not for me.
Please open online voting. What's that?
I just say, please, okay.
It is open.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Online voting has closed. The motion carries with 5 yes, yays, and 1 abstain. Oh, Councilmember Martinez abstained.
I voted yes.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry, 'cause it
Apparently
changed.
you did not.
That's what it said right there. Yes.
You-
I didn't go,
You did vote yes,
yes.
because it came through as abstained.
Wonder why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I apologize, so, the motion carries with 6 yeas.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next thing on our agenda is the, first reading of an ordinance amending section 1033, stopping, standing, and parking. Kinda weird. Councilman Wells, Vice Mayor Wells.
I make a motion to approve on first reading and waive the reading of ordinance amending Rollins Municipal closed, 1033, stopping, standing, and parking.
Councilman Smith?
Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded to approve the first reading and waive the reading of the ordinance amending Rawlins Municipal Code 1033, stopping, standing, and parking. Is there discussion?
Honorable Mayor and City Council, just wanted to bond tonight. So this ordinance, again, is coming from Urban Systems. They did make the recommendation to approve this to you guys. It is actually removing the requirement that for diagonal parking, your vehicle cannot exceed 20 feet in length. As you guys know, we have a lot of diagonal parking in downtown. We live in a community where we have trailers and toys, and we like our big trucks to haul things, so it's just not very realistic. It is a difficult ordinance to enforce, so we just want to get rid of it. I do want to just notate that we have ordinance in place that if they are impeding the traffic flow, that can be addressed and our officers can take care of that. So this isn't going to cause issues with them parking in the middle of the street and people not being able to proceed. But if you guys have any questions, I will try to answer them. And
Pretty straightforward.
Just one quick I thought we already did this when they changed the angles of the parking.
We did, but we didn't take into consideration how big those trucks are. And,
Well, no, I mean, I thought we eliminated
well, we talked about it, but we didn't eliminate it, it's still in.
we never officially actually,
so we, had brought to you guys, Title 10 of numerous sections, and then there were some issues with it, so we actually had requested that council pull it, and started working on it, and it is still in its entirety being reviewed, but we're bringing this specific to get it addressed. We did change the angle of the parking the last time we striped downtown, which did help, but it did not eliminate the issue.
okay, I'm go with it.
I think, if I remember correctly, Aaron, we got all the way to second reading on that before we had you guys pull it, so. It was definitely a conversation.
Any more discussion? Please open online voting.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Danielle.
Online voting is open.
The internet's slow in here tonight. The internet's slow tonight.
Okay, online voting has closed. Motion carries with, 5 yes and 1 nay. Oh, I'm so sorry. The nay is, Martinez, Councilman Martinez. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure with your computer not working correctly.
I was just seeing if you picked the right one this time.
All right, for the next test. Next thing on our agenda is, ordinance first reading, amending Rawlins Municipal Code Section 1.01.010. A condition precedent. Every ordinance and resolution being presented to the governing body be reviewed by the Rawlins City Attorney for legal compliance and sufficiency. Do I hear a motion? Councilman Martinez?
I'll make the motion on first reading, amending Rawlins Municipal Code Section 1.01.010, a condition precedent every ordinance and resolution being presented to the governing body be reviewed by the Rawlins City Attorney, legal, compliance and sufficiency.
Councilman Smith?
Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded to, on first reading, amend the Rawlins Municipal Code 1.01.010, a condition precedent every ordinance and resolution being presented to their governing body be reviewed by the Rawlins City Attorney for legal compliance and sufficiency. Is there any discussion? Jabari? You're the presenter.
If there's any question, I agree with it,
Okay.
unless somebody has something opposed to it, I think it's kind of.
Councilman Durst?
is the intent of this just to make it the rule rather than the
It's.
unwritten rule of thumb?
Okay, it's basically what it was, there was a time that I made a motion, to pass a resolution, and I made the mistake, I said that it should go to the city manager should, give it to staff to put it together, and the staff could be anybody, it could be the public works, it could be the landfill operator, they're all part of his staff, so my thinking was that if we send it through the attorney, she read it, she would explain it to whoever's wanting the ordinance, to make sure that that's what they want on the ordinance. I didn't do that, and so I thought it's a good ordinance, it's a friendly ordinance, all it says is that whoever the city attorney is down the road, would have a chance to review it, and then bring it to the council, if there's any legal.
Just review prior to coming to council. Okay. I just trying to make sure what,
That's.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, no.
Councilman Smith?
The only negative, I mean, I support the motion, but the only negative would be if our attorney was not available and we did not have, an attorney follow-up staff for like 2 weeks or something, and so that's the only downside I see to it, so when you look at
Well-
this, that's the only question I would have.
Unless it was an emergency, I don't think that
Yeah,
would be a problem.
we don't usually do ordinances in
I was gonna
emergency
say.
anyway.
Takes 3 readings anyway.
I can't imagine an ordinance or resolution being,
It's just a good practice.
being passed without having, legal scrutiny.
well, that's, I guess that was the nature of my question, I thought.
I have no problem with it.
I don't either.
Any other discussion?
Yes.
Please go. Yes, yes, sir. You gotta hold your hand, wait.
Just as a point of clarification, ever since I've been here, this has been the city's practice. I maybe reviewed everything, I have a meeting with Lynn once a week to review all of our resolutions and ordinances, so
I would hope so,
I
yeah.
certainly support that.
Doesn't apply to you, Sean.
Yeah.
Sure, we
Just
love
as a
it now,
clarification for a random person listening to this.
Any further discussion?
It's not at one time we had a council that didn't agree with the legal department, or maybe the legal department didn't agree with the manager's department, and there was a problem there, and things weren't getting back and forth. That was a problem for us, and it was always coming up, so I thought this would take care of that problem.
Well, and just because it's reviewed by the attorney doesn't mean
Doesn't mean we're not gonna, we have.
Doesn't mean that we have to absolutely go by that. I mean, that's just I mean, I would, I'm not still, I'm gonna end up in court, I want my attorney on my side.
It doesn't mean she has to write it, she just has to agree.
She just has to say, yeah, this is okay, or it's not okay for this reason or that reason, and so anyway. Any further discussion? Please open online voting.
Online voting is open.
You better vote yes on this one, buddy.
I'm watching.
Yeah, don't abstain.
Yeah, no abstain.
Don't abstain. Okay, I didn't abstain, I'll tell you.
Okay, online voting has closed, the motion carried with, 6 yeas.
All right, thank you. All right, next thing on our agenda is, it looks like there's a resolution requiring a 24-hour review of all non-exigent matters, being presented to the governing body during a special meeting. Who wants to make a motion? Darryl? Excuse me, Councilman Garner, I'm sorry.
I move to approve a resolution establishing a 24-hour review of all non-exigent matters that do not demand immediate action by the governing body during a special meeting.
Well, second.
There's been a motion made and seconded to, I'm lost here, I'm sorry, just give me a second. To, approve a resolution establishing a 24-hour review for all non-exigent matters that do not demand immediate action by the governing body during a special meeting. Is there any discussion? Councilman Smith?
I would like a legal term explained to me in legalese, if I could get it. Because, okay, here's my issue, and I'd like you to tell me what that means for sure. When you have special meetings, they're because there's a imminent need to have that special meeting, whether it be personnel or licenses, or in the latest thing, we had a time element that would keep a business from opening. I don't understand why would want to have this. I don't know what the impetus is, but also, would this keep us from that language non-event, or whatever it's called? Keep us from, let's say we have a deadline at midnight, so we meet at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to save ourselves from an imminent problem. And then we have to have a 20-hour review, and I'm thinking more like a legal matter. And they do pop up, but not very often over my tenure here. But I don't want to have something that's going to keep us from being able to meet the demands of something that may be legal in nature, or, important enough that we have to wait another 24 hours and then lose the deadline.
So regularly held meetings, all meetings follow the Public Meetings Act. And the basis for, the Public Meetings Act is provide notice and opportunity for hearing. And as a regularly conducted meeting, everyone knows the City Council meets on the first and third Tuesday of every month at 7:30 p.m. There is recognition that during those in-between days, situations may arise that this council needs to take action in between those meetings. You can't take action outside of a meeting, so it's either a special meeting or an emergency meeting. Now, a special meeting is one step above a regular meeting. It requires 8 hours notice, and it's for those matters where you can provide 8 hours of notice, but it can't wait until the next regularly held meeting. It's something where you may have 3 days to get a grant application in, and we're gonna miss the deadline if you don't approve submitting the grant application. And something like that, as long as you're within the grant deadline, you could either do it today after 8 hours notice, or, as this is stating, schedule the special meeting for tomorrow, so you have 24 hours to review the grant, review the requirements to see whether or not you think the city should submit the grant. Now, an emergency meeting is extreme. That is the least amount of notice. It is the most serious of situations. It's 4 hours of notice, and then you have to come back within 48 hours to ratify that, because it's only temporary in nature. What you have before you is limited to special meetings, so only those meetings that require 8 hours of notice. And what this is saying is, if it's something that can wait for 24 hours, you should wait for 24 hours. And I'm going off of our discussion, I'm not, Councilman Garner, requested this. His concern was that if we provide you with a legal contract, a grant agreement, or something that's very detailed, most of you are working, it's unrealistic for you to receive the email, review the 8 pages, 14 pages, 20 pages, and prepared to make a decision that night. And so he's simply saying, if it's one of those situations where it can be held today or tomorrow, and there's no immediate action, let's hold it tomorrow.
So is that where the language, the one she was talking about? Exigent.
Mm-hmm.
So there is the opportunity to still have a meeting if it was something like personnel, like we've had in the past, where you needed to kind of address it quickly.
So a good example would be, the boiler at City Hall, is no longer operational. And we do not have it budgeted for replacement. Well, the city needs to either quickly winterize City Hall, so we don't have frozen pipes, or we need to move forward with an emergency budget amendment to purchase that boiler and get it here or get the furnace here. That would be one of those situations where you can't wait 24 hours. You need to take immediate action. Chances are that would probably be an emergency meeting, but, that's where I would say that exigency occurs. If you're being served with a lawsuit, and for some unknown reason, you receive the information late and you only have 20 days to file the answer, but if you wait until the next regularly held meeting, it'll be 23 days. You obviously wanna have a meeting between now and then, and take action on appealing that or filing an answer or directing your legal counsel to file an answer on your behalf. Now, something like a grant application, say that's due May 1st, and for whatever reason, it fell through the cracks and it wasn't presented to you at a regular meeting, but it's, maybe it's the COVID-19 grants or those types of grants where we're under a short deadline that's due May 1st, and you have a full week before May 1st, but you don't have a meeting till after. You don't necessarily have to have the council approve it that day. You don't have to shorten the time for 8 hours. You could say, we wanna have a special meeting, we would schedule it tomorrow. Is that permissible? So what this is saying is, you need more time to review the materials coming to you, even at a special meeting. Unless it's something that requires absolute immediate attention today. But you're still able to do an emergency meeting with 4 hours notice, so remember that. This is not hindering your ability to call an emergency meeting with 4 hours or less, and it's not hindering your ability to call a special meeting. It's just simply saying, if it's something that can wait, you're asking staff and the administration to wait 24 hours to give you that leeway. But if it's something that can't wait, you would fall back to the 8-hour or the 4-hour. And this does not absolutely touch your authority to call a special meeting or to call, an emergency meeting. It's simply just putting staff and the administration on with the idea that if it's something that can wait a day, you want us to wait a day.
So, like what just happened with the restaurant thing, we found out they were interested one day. We gave them the contract that morning, agreed that they would go read it and decide if they liked it. And they came back the next morning with very few changes and said, we'll accept it. But they had to know, that night, so that they could order the food and the beverages to open up the next day, or on Friday, on time. Would it tie our hands in that situation? Would we have had to pass on that wonderful gift?
So in that instance, what I would do, if this passes, again, it's council's pleasure, what this would do is it would put the onus back on the council or on the city administration or whoever's calling the special meeting, the mayor, to say, we have an issue with the concessionaire, here's the situation, we need an answer by tonight so he can order food. Can we proceed with a special, do you have any objections to scheduling a special meeting today? And so the council at that point can determine, yes, I believe this is important enough, let's have a special meeting today.
But how would we determine that without a special meeting to determine it in?
Just like in this, you call the special meeting, and because it's a special meeting, we have to give you personal notification that each member of the governing body on a special and emergency meeting gets notification. So before we advertise it, before it's being called, we would call each of the council members and say, we have a need for a special meeting. Here is the subject matter. We recommend that it be held today, and then at that time, that's when you give that feedback and say, yeah, I agree, I don't care, or no, I really want to see it tomorrow. There's no need for us to take action today, we'll do it tomorrow.
And I've never seen a problem come up like this, for one. For two, once it's presented, like the restaurant license that we worked on, we could, as council, council members can say, make a motion to postpone in that special meeting. You're not tied. If you want more time, you could make that motion. I would support that, and then we'd have a chance to, and then put a time on it, and we'd have a chance to go over it. It hardly ever happens.
Would you have to still have a meeting to postpone, or could we postpone, before?
I think we'd have to have a meeting and have to be called to order.
And I guess that was kind of my thinking, is if you did the 24 hours, you wouldn't have to have a meeting to have a meeting, is what I was going for, in this case.
But if we would have practiced that last week, we wouldn't have a kitten session there at the golf course, is what I'm afraid. I just don't wanna limit our ability to be extremely competitive, because we're cruising, and I don't wanna put hurdles in our way. I just really worry about that. Councilman Smith?
I would like to hear Councilman Garner's impetus on what caused you to feel, I would like to hear why you brought this forward, to get,
So,
concerns.
the main reason, was, just the fear that it's rushed. 8 hours it doesn't seem like a lot of time for a contract of that size. And with the majority of people working full-time jobs, such as myself, I got off that day, and I have that short window to get everything in order and read through it. And when you rush things like that, you have a much larger, error you create by rushing things. And so, it's not my desire to prevent something like that. I think what we voted on was great, and I think it needed to happen. I just worry about, maybe it's a bigger contract, and if that happened, maybe 24 hours is a sufficient amount of time, I think, to get through.
And if I could, Mr. Gardner, Councilman Gardner, I respect what you've been doing, but if we had a special meeting, and if you would have said something to me, on the council floor, I would like to make a motion to postpone tonight, and I got the information from everybody, and I agreed with you, I'd second it in a minute. It doesn't bother me to postpone something if I thought it was the right way to go. So I think it's an ordinance that we can make those decisions, I can make that, I would. I'm not afraid to say postpone it. If you felt that we should postpone it, and you give me a reason why, I would second that. That's my take on that.
Councilman Smith?
I appreciate your concerns, but I think of time that's been on this council and watching this stuff for over 37 years, the emergency meetings that we have are so few and far between. We have a staff, between our city manager and our legal counsel that vet these things for us. And, there's some parts that maybe I thought of hours afterwards, but in the scheme of things, I shouldn't say scheme, that's a good word. But, I don't wanna limit our ability to react to something that is really important. But like, I can assure you that there's not gonna be that many immediate, needs for emergency meetings. Just haven't seen it. And if we do start doing it, then yeah, let's bring it back up and address the concern, but I appreciate your concerns on this, but I think that, I don't wanna tie our hands to be able to do the important things that we need to do when we have an emergency meeting.
Any further discussion? Councilman Durden?
Just to throw it on the record, just to have a big voice, I get where you're going, and I'm full support of it. I think I'm not sure that I would support this particular mechanism, but I get where you're going, and I support the notion 100%.
Well, and I do too, and like that restaurant thing, that was such a freak of nature. I mean, if I didn't know the people, if there was a lot more unknowns, I was comfortable because that was the contract we used before. It was modified very little, actually to the city's advantage. but there was a real negative part of not reacting quickly. And that's why I agreed to do the special meeting and come in and get that done. And, I mean, the 45 people that have patted me on the back and shook my hand and thanked me for getting those folks in there made all of that worth it. And like has been mentioned, if that does become a problem, and as mayor, I don't think it will be, because I enjoy my home too. Anyway, that restaurant thing, that just is not gonna happen hardly at all. I mean, it's a real rarity. I can't imagine, of course, tomorrow might happen again, but if it did, I wouldn't wanna pass up something that awesome for the city again. I mean, I don't know what the future holds, but if a person's uncomfortable, postponing one's fine, as long as postponing it doesn't cancel it, I guess is where I'm at.
Well, it depends on the information we get.
Sure.
If I would've been surprised, first thing I did was call in to find out, what we received, or who made the contract. I mean, and, the answer was, no, we pulled it out of a file, it's one that we used before, and these are the changes, and then I read it, didn't really bother me, but
Yeah.
if it was something that you knew you wanted to question and you told me about it and I agree with you, I'd second it in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
The gravity.
All right, any further discussion? Please open online voting.
Okay, online voting is open.
Oh, can I change my vote?
Yeah, you can.
Top left, actually.
Here in the
Top right, red.
Oh, hang on, I don't know what I was doing.
Don't, I'm not touching you. Don't touch it. I'm not touching anything. Okay. Okay, online voting has now closed. The motion is failed with 4 nays and 2 yeas.
And just a point of clarification, the resolution proposed by Councilmember Garner, was not relative to any specific issue. He was just trying to make a general policy. The concessionaire at the golf course, is in, they're working, they've been busy. It's nice to have them in there, and we encourage, it has absolutely nothing to do with the concessionaire.
I understand. Who voted what way?
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. The yeas were, Councilmember Martinez and Councilmember Gardner. The nays were Councilmember Durst, Councilmember Smith, Vice Mayor, Wells, and Mayor Whitehead.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the next thing on our agenda is a resolution authorizing the expenditures of funds, from the general fund to pay, capital project expenses, declaring the intent, and I would entertain a motion. Councilman Smith?
I would move to approve a resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds from the reserve general fund to pay capital project expenses from the 1% sales and use projects, and declaring the intent of the city of Rollins to reimburse the reserves of the general fund with funds received from 1% sales and use tax collections.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion made and seconded to approve a resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds from the general fund to pay capital project expenses from the 1% sales and use projects, and declaring the intent of the city of Rollins to reimburse the general fund with funds received from the 1% sales tax and use tax collections. Is there any discussion? Councilman Smith?
Yeah, the reason that I added reserves was because, general fund basically is all the monies we collect and disperse through a general fund. Reserves basically is not, I don't believe, the general fund. And if we, I think the intent of this council was to use reserves to pay down, or to match our, put enough money in the pot to do our 6 street projects. And, according to legal counsel, that's legal to do. But if we don't put it back in the reserve fund, we will deplete our reserve funds in, 3 to 4 years, or, 3 to 4 projects. It's not going back to reserve fund, and therefore not gonna have any. So that's why I made that little correction.
Like you're saying to take it out of the reserve fund to finance the project, but when the money gets paid back, it needs to go back in the reserve
It needs
fund,
to go
and
back
I
to
agree
where
totally.
Where we got it from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it goes in the general fund, we spend it, we have no reserves.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with, Devari even talked to me about that also, and I couldn't agree more.
You see, that was our plan, right? We pay for it, and then the money is released, and then it just comes back.
Just so it don't go into the general fund, because then it's free game.
Basically, the savings account gets dipped into and then gets replenished when that comes
Yeah.
back.
Correct.
That was my concern.
Yeah, and
That's how I remembered the plan.
is that how the motion reads? To take it out of reserves, put it back in reserves? Okay,
And the resolution has been fully updated with that information.
okay. Any further discussion? Very simple. Please open online voting.
Online voting is now open. Online voting has now closed, the motion carries with 6 yeas.
All right, thank you. Is there anything else anybody wants to bring up before we adjourn? Okay, with that, I would adjourn this meeting. And the next meeting is May 4th, 2021. Council meeting notice, upcoming budget items, May 4th, 18th, June 1st, 15th.
Would you say what we had paid for it, June
I do appreciate the moment to bring something up in case we didn't want to adjourn.
18th. Yeah.
Anybody have anything to bring up here and now? I'll just adjourn this.
Well, there's always something at the end of it.
I know, I just
And we
like
can't
that.
take an action on it, but we can sure argue about it.
Sure, pointlessly, most of the time.
like all of
I just like that, if there's anything else here and now, we'll just adjourn.
Let's be quiet.
What?
I'm leaving tomorrow.
you guys
go to
made my
Madrid
goal.
for a week.
Is it before I left?
My dog is 11.
Oh, wow, okay.